Good morning, shit-ins.
Yo, 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 yo.
How's everyone going today?
What it do, babies? How y'all doing today?
I'm doing alright. How you doing?
I am good.
I was up half the night changing some of this stuff around.
Looks beast mode. Look at it. Mike was up all night. He didn't get no sleep yesterday.
Morning, Adam, Joey.
And I was mouth open, tongue out, sleep like a hound puppy.
Today is Versace Day.
Versace.
Morning, Jay, Lady J, Jay and Lady J, and Ralph. What's up, Ralph? We were watching you last night.
We was watching y'all last night. My bad. I'm trying to do something. Sorry, I keep looking down. I'm trying to do something.
Good morning, Ashley. Everyone say good morning. Thanks for joining us this morning. We actually have some cool stuff. What's up, Beantown? What do you guys think about the whole chat thing there on the over here?
Good morning, Ashley.
Different.
Scotty Too Hottie.
Easier to read.
Ruben. What it do, baby?
So they're actually not
Ashley.
polka dots.
How are you doing?
They're
Rebecca.
all little Versace.
Rodney,
symbols.
what it do?
Let's see if I can get it close for you.
Ralph. What's up, man? So I did my studying last night.
All right. What'd you study?
Studied a little bit of the draft. Got that out the way.
Okay.
I'm not gonna talk about. I'm gonna talk about one player a day. I'm not gonna talk about them all. I'm gonna talk about all the draft, the ones that I think is the most important. And let me look. I forgot his name already because I have short-term memory. But oh yeah. So I don't know how many people out there is watching right now. Is there still people logging in? How many people we at? I want to make sure everybody hear this. Everybody wants to hear me talk about football. I just want to make sure everybody hear this. We should probably wait for a little bit later, huh?
We can. We actually have a really cool show today. So we have Roni Wade on, who's a personal trainer. She's gonna come on a little later. He just had a huge dollop of hot sauce on one. You need something to drink? You wanna try this milk?
Nah,
That's cream.
Yeah. You see, you try to set me up.
I didn't. Sorry.
He tried to set me up. Yeah, drink a mouthful of cream.
Take this gallon of milk.
Okay, so
Roni Wade's coming on, personal trainer. She's cool. You do. You've been.
no, I haven't.
Oh.
This week I took off. Last week she killed me. Absolutely killed me. So I do my own little jailhouse workouts is what I call them. Because basically they workouts that, people do in jail. So just basically a lot of body workouts, push-ups, sit-ups,
running
yeah, stuff like that.
away.
So basically I was doing that kind of stuff, twice, once or twice a day. And then Roni, when I started studying for my personal training thing, Roni hit me up and was like, hey, I'll be doing some stuff online, you should try it out. And I'm like, oh, this finna be a walk in the park. Little did I know I was gonna be sore for an entire week and only did 2 days worth of work. So yeah, she killed me, and now you guys get to meet her. She's also one of my best friends since college. I met her my freshman year in college. We were both at a party, and I was from California, and she was from California, and we met, and I was like, "You from? I'm from California." She's like, "Oh, I'm from California too." And then next thing you know, we're friends. So yeah, we've been friends ever since, and she's been supportive throughout my career, and I've been supportive throughout her. So yeah, that's who we'll be talking to today. She probably has some crazy stories she can tell you. I probably don't remember much about, but I'm sure she will. So yeah, that's Ronnie.
Cool. We also are going to have Grant Smith on from the Young Jurks. We're also going to have Andrew Mutty from AKA Dr. Fire coming on from Beantown, Greentown, and he's going to do some grow tips today. I think he's leaving his GIMP inside. But yeah, I think we're going to learn about some LST, low stress training.
I thought you said LSD. I was about to say, yeah, boy, let's learn. What you gonna teach me that I don't already know?
6-hour show.
For all my Delix fans out there.
So you're actually eating chowder this morning.
Oh yeah.
So
Shout out to the breakfast sponsor, Healthy Futures Farms.
well, you're trying all kinds of different hot sauces in there. In your
That's what
chowder.
I did this I did yesterday.
I must not have been paying attention. No, this isn't CBD coffee, unfortunately. Oh yeah, you're right. Muddy is not Dr. Fire. Which doctor is Muddy? Again.
No, I'm putting the hot
somebody tell me.
sauce. Actually, I'm putting the hot sauce in my clam chowder.
Yeah, that would have been embarrassing if I had called him Dr. Fire.
Mm-hmm.
In title.
Good morning, Christy.
Is he like Dr.
Rebecca.
Funk? Is he Dr. Funk?
LSD, right? That's what I thought he said too. I climbed into RFK Stadium on 7 hits if Blotter in 1995 to see Grateful Dead. Green General said on Instagram, I climbed into RFK Stadium on 7 hits if Blotter in 1995 to see Grateful Dead.
So
7 hits?
I don't know. First of all, I guess he eats chowder at 10 a.m. And second of all, it's because we don't have a breakfast sponsor. This is what we've been reduced to. He's trying to make sure he's present for the show. He should actually be happy that he's eating chowder today. Ooh, I
Haley
just
said, Eric, how about them Chiefs? They garbage.
Garbage.
Look at the Chiefs ain't gonna be that good. Patrick Mahomes he's not Tom Brady. It's not finna happen. He not finna go on the streak Tom Brady go on. Not with what's his face as his head coach. Y'all gonna be like the Eagles. One and done. Good morning, chowder yum. See, Amanda Joseph says chowder is good. Chowder is good. Exactly. Amanda. Lady J, a lot of people eat chowder at 10 a.m., I'm sure. If you like a chowder, if you're a chowder fan. What's up, James? Shout out to James. Long time no see, brother. It's good to see you log in. Miss you, man. Tell me how you doing.
just before we get to Grant Smith from the Young Jurks, and he's all set to come on, and he's been patiently waiting. We're definitely running a few minutes late today, which is totally my fault. Um, and now I'm ready. I'm here with all y'all. And he is too. He's finishing up his chowder. I just want to start the contest first, okay? So today's contest is going to be pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, what is it?
Um, okay, so here's the deal: is we're gonna give away we're gonna give away two masks today, like two masks,
Oh yeah.
and it's gonna be big today too. And much to Avril's chagrin, we're giving away
Melissa's mad
two
at
jars
me
of jam today. So here's the deal:
for smacking in the mic.
today is like vet giveaway day. So you and a vet can both win a mask, a real one, and a jar of jam, each of you. So
Hole in the wall.
you want
Infuse my chowder. Then
you wanted to,
I need it.
Dr. Kine, thank you.
Hole in the wall care LLC hopped in the
So the contest today is that both you and a vet can win a mask and a jar of infused jam. It's like awesome contest. We haven't had an awesome big one in a while, and we're gonna do it for vet. So here's the deal: is in the comments, you're gonna and wait for a second. You're gonna tag your favorite vet, and then you're going to figure out what Eric's favorite cartoon is. Now, here's the thing: is you can do unlimited entry. So you're tagging a vet and you're guessing the cartoon, but you can guess multiple vets and you can guess multiple cartoons. So just have at
people
it.
who know me know I'm
The thing that's
childish.
going to matter is the right cartoon, but you're going to tag a vet. So if you win, you're going to win for you and the vet that you're tagging, but you got to tag them in
And
the
me.
comments and get the vet to come in. They can guess too. They can guess another vet. If you're a vet, don't guess yourself. Guess you and guess another vet. You know, spread the love. But there's two, so it's a mask. Infuse jam. Each of you are going to win. By the way, we don't send stuff out, so the masks are being sponsored by the Pheno Cup, which you're a judge of.
Oh yeah.
The Pheno Cup. So
Can't
they're
wait to
sponsoring
smoke
the
it
mask.
up.
So if you and your vet friend win, you and the vet are gonna contact the Pheno Cup and be like, "Hey, I won the mask," so that you can give them your address and they can send you the mask. And it's the same thing with the jam, which you have to be 21 or over, which I'm assuming most of you are. If you are the winner, you will also contact Healthy Futures Farms, which will make sure that the link is in there for both the Pheno Cup and Healthy Futures Farms.
See me sweat.
And say, I won the jam, and coordinate with them with your address so that you can get your jam. That's how that's going to work today. So just start. Wow, sugar. So that's how that's going to work today. So, but remember, when you tag your vet, you also have to pick the favorite cartoon. So even though you've tagged some vets so far, make sure you. So the
Ooh,
contest
Amanda,
is
that was a
what
good
is
one.
the contest is what is Eric's favorite cartoon.
That was
but
a good one.
when you guess the cartoon, you
Dragon
also
Ball
tag
Z.
a vet.
Ooh.
That's the deal.
That's a close second though.
Because we're picking, and so if you've already tagged a vet, that's okay. Just re-tag them and put in the cartoon.
Family Guy is a close second too.
Because the cartoon is really what is going to win, but then you and the vet will win. I hope that's abundantly clear. Now, what we're going to do, you're sweating.
Oh yeah.
All right.
That sauce is good. But I like a challenge.
Damn. All right, so Grant Smith has been patiently waiting, and we really appreciate it. We're going to go right now to Grant Smith
Grant finna kick us
from
out.
the Young Jurks.
I don't want
Always,
to be here no more.
Always a consummate professional. Grant, welcome to the show. We really appreciate you joining us today.
Good morning, guys. Thank you so much for having me. I've been enjoying listening to the discussion this morning, as always.
Grant, well, first of all, you're with the Young Jurks on Facebook, which is also on iTunes and a number of other places too. When can folks find you live there? Because you got a lot of important conversations going on lately.
Oh, yep. So folks can follow us on Facebook via the Young Jurks page. and that we have been going live usually on Sundays every week. We'll go live at 5 o'clock. However, recently we have been doing a lot of special episodes peppered throughout the week. And normally for those episodes, we'll put an announcement post up on the Young Jurks Facebook page ahead of time. So by all means, folks who would like to keep up with the Young Jurks, give us a follow on Facebook. You can also follow us at midnightmass.substack.com, or you can follow the podcast on Spotify, Anchor, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else where your podcasts are found.
That's awesome. You guys are everywhere. So Grant, it's been a busy week this last week. I've seen you, having lots of great conversations and posting lots of news. So can you give us the rundown?
Sure. I mean, there's been lots of developments over the course of the past week in the cannabis arena. As we talked about last week, there was that ongoing issue whether or not Governor Baker would reopen adult use cannabis operations, following a lawsuit by Stephen Mandilli and some of the dispensaries in the state. Unfortunately, that lawsuit, the request for an injunction in that case was not granted. However, the judge did note in his order denying the injunction that it would be legal for Governor Baker to restrict out-of-state individuals from coming into Massachusetts to purchase adult use cannabis. And that's important because when asked, Governor Baker was asked why he banned adult use cannabis but allowed medical to remain open. And his logic was that adult use cannabis could attract out-of-state residents, and that he thought at the time it would be illegal to ban those out-of-state residents from going to dispensaries in Massachusetts. The judge opined in the dismissal of the injunction in that case that he thought Governor Baker could legally restrict those residents from out of state from coming in. So that potentially lays the groundwork for further discussions with the governor going forward, which is positive. And another big update was that there was another order in an unrelated case that came out just last night on Friday at about 4 p.m. in a case that involved the city of Cambridge and a corporate dispensary there, Revolutionary Clinics. Now, for folks who have been following the developments of that case in Cambridge, they'll all know last night was a big victory. For folks who haven't been following, just to quickly get you up to speed, about 9 months ago in September of 2019, the Cambridge City Council, after about 9 months of lobbying by grassroots activists, myself, MRCC, the Mass Recreational Consumer Council, and others, passed an ordinance that was going to set up how they were going to allow adult use applicants for cannabis businesses to apply in the city. And in that ordinance, they specifically set it up so that for the first 2 years, only state-certified economic empowerment applicants could open an adult use cannabis store during that 2-year period. Mm-hmm. And that was controversial to some of these dispensaries, the medical dispensaries, because they felt entitled to open during that 2-year period as well. And so after the 2-year priority period was passed in September, one of the dispensaries, Revolutionary Clinics, filed a lawsuit to try to undermine this priority period. And the logic they sued under was basically, if medical dispensaries can't be included in the priority period, then the priority period shouldn't exist. Now, setting aside how ridiculous it is on a moral level for these corporate medical dispensaries worth millions of dollars, in some cases for some of the companies billions, to say that they deserve equal priority alongside equity applicants who were some of the people harmed the most by the war on drugs. Setting that aside, the case itself caused a problem because in January, a lower court judge issued what's called an injunction in the case. And what that injunction did was it banned the city of Cambridge from enforcing their 2-year priority period. Now, that was in January that injunction was issued. So a lot of us who had fought for the period were disheartened and worried. But the city appealed to someone called a single justice of the appeals court. And that was the ruling that came out last night on Friday. And that ruling was so big because it lifted the injunction. So what that means is that as of yesterday, Cambridge's first in the nation priority period for equity applicants in the adult use cannabis permitting process is once again allowed to be enforced. And although the Revolutionary Clinics has vowed to continue fighting the lawsuit, for now, Cambridge does have the authority, pursuant to the decision, to issue their their adult use permits only to economic empowerment applicants. So this was a huge win. It sets the foundation to have these kind of 2-year priority periods for equity applicants on the municipal level in other cities and towns. And it was a big day of celebration for all involved. So,
yeah, that's amazing. That's big news.
Yep. And now there is, of course, the fact that the case is going to continue. Yesterday's ruling in the Cambridge versus Revolutionary Clinics case lifts the injunction, but it sends the case back down to the Superior Court. And as I mentioned, this dispensary, Revolutionary Clinics, is hell-bent on trying to undermine this equity period for some reason. So they may try to get further rulings, and we'll have to keep all the viewers abreast of any developments in the case moving forward.
Yeah, that's excellent. And do we know, does Cambridge have a limit on how many rec dispensaries they can open? Because I'm sure that's sort of an issue, right? The state of Massachusetts, I believe the guideline is dependent upon how many liquor stores are present in the community, and then there's supposed to be at least a minimum of a certain number of dispensaries allowed within that community if the community decides not to be prohibitionist, right? I think. Am I correct, Grant?
Yeah, so correct. First of all, cities and towns do have the ability to opt out, but those who don't opt out can have at minimum 20% of the number of liquor stores in the form of licenses for adult use cannabis sales. Now, the thing is, some cities and towns have zoning buffers. So that somewhat limits the number as well. You can only have, for example, in Cambridge, I think it's one store every 1,800 square feet or something. Don't quote me on that, but you get the idea.
Right.
Now, those buffers in some cities, which is also an excellent initiative that people have been working on, don't apply to economic empowerment applicants, which is really important. So some cities and towns, although they have those buffers, actually allow economic empowerment applicants to open within the buffers. Now, this has caused some contentious issues to occur where two people try to open up across the street from each other. But on the whole, having that exclusion or having the buffer not apply to equity applicants is another way on the municipal level to help get some of these smaller companies licensed.
And so, I guess something that sort of occurred to me was that with the 2-year head start, there might be enough dispensaries opening that maybe it then becomes difficult for some of these RMDs to be able to switch over to rec if there's a zoning issue at that point, or if Cambridge feels like they've got enough already. I'm not sure. What do you think about that?
So RMDs are also excluded from the buffer. So there's a difference.
It's really just that they have to wait 2 years. It's not that they run the risk of not being able to open recreationally.
Yeah. And when a medical shop opens as a adult use store, it's called co-location. So really, this is just a 2-year delay of their ability to co-locate. And it's interesting because in the judge's order lifting the injunction last night, one of the arguments that the dispensary made was that because they weren't allowed to open and have adult use sales, each month they'd lose a substantial amount of money. But what's really interesting is that the judge, the single justice, absolutely eviscerated that argument basically time and time again, saying that basically their evidence that they presented to the court of economic harm was scant, and that basically the dispensary, it wasn't enough for the dispensary to just show that they were going to lose money. They had to show some other harm for it to be a serious harm under the injunction.
Right.
And the harm they tried to claim was that if they were only allowed to operate as medical, they would have a lower income. And in some states, medical-only operators without the ability to have rec have shut down. right? So the judge wanted to dive into this claim a little bit. And so he looked at the source for the Rev CEO making that claim and found that the CEO's source, according to this is a quote from the ruling, according to the judge, appeared to be, quote, solely a post in the Oregon Cannabis Connection, close quote. And I think the judge found a post he made on a website or something, and that was the source for his claim that they were going to suffer a harm. And the judge did not like that was the source he used. So
well, and also Oregon had, they sort of rolled things out differently than Massachusetts. They let out so many licenses that the market bottomed out in Oregon, and I believe the wholesale price of flower per pound was only a couple of $100s, like very, very low. And that most businesses out in Oregon failed. And I believe that the figure that I had heard was that out of 1,000 licenses that they had given for cultivation, that only the top 8 sized licensed businesses, that would be enough to actually support the state of Oregon for the amount of cannabis that it expected to consume. So a lot of folks, most businesses in Oregon failed, and I'm willing to bet that the 90% figure that we hear of cannabis businesses failing in the U.S., that a lot of those are made up from folks in Oregon. So I can see how it's a little bit of an apples and oranges situation out there. But what I will say is that any licensed dispensary, especially in a bit of a metropolitan area like Cambridge, you probably are talking about at least $100 million a year, if not far, far more, depending on the size and the location and the traffic that they get.
$3 to $5 million a month in revenue is what some of them have said at their public hearings in Cambridge. But you brought up a really important point, which is that unfortunately a lot of cannabis companies, especially the smaller grassroots companies that oftentimes are equity applicants, fail before they can even get through the permitting process or even after the permitting process, depending. And one thing that Cambridge is actually going to work on going forward that's very unique, and this might actually happen at the state level as well, is something called the Social Equity Loan Fund. And I bring this up because it's really important for folks who have an interest in the cannabis industry to know that you might have resources in the future to help you get into the industry without having to necessarily rely on private finance capital or anything like that. And that program in Cambridge, the Social Equity Fund, is something that they're discussing on the local level, wherein they might potentially put a dedicated levy. So they might set aside a certain percentage of their cannabis tax to then go into a loan fund to help future smaller companies get loans to open. Mm-hmm. And the state of Massachusetts is considering a similar social equity loan fund. It was first proposed as a budget amendment by Senator Sonia Chang Diaz last year. She's now the co-chair of the Joint Cannabis Policy Committee on Beacon Hill. And that social equity loan fund just a month ago actually reappeared, this time instead of a budget amendment, as a law. So over the next year or so, we very well may see a social equity loan fund for cannabis businesses from the state. And that is so crucial because, as folks might know, cannabis companies were intentionally excluded from the federal stimulus. And a lot of those companies, because adult use in Massachusetts is closed, are on the brink of collapse.
And so, I know on the medicinal side we have curbside pickup. Is rec allowing for curbside pickup at this point?
Adult use in Massachusetts as of now is still completely shut down. The only way that adult use operators can operate right now is if they get special dispensation from the Cannabis Control Committee to basically they're allowed to designate their seeds to go in the ground for the purposes of eventually being sold in the medical market. Likewise, they can do this if they're manufacturers or producers. They can obtain a special exemption to be able to stay open with a skeleton crew over the next few months if the product is earmarked for sale into the medical supply chain. And on that note, the numbers of people enrolled in the medical cannabis program have gone up by 250% in just the last 7 days alone. So hopefully that increase in numbers will ensure that some of these smaller adult use cultivators and manufacturers, even if they can't sell adult use retail, will have the ability to, at the very least, continue having some of their employees work towards getting product in the ground or cultivated.
Well, and so what it sounds like is that any cultivation that is not earmarked for medical right now is supposed to be closed, which means that they will be going out of business because if their crops can't be tended to, and that's that's basically a quarter of within a few days without attending those crops, you're going to lose a quarter of your income for the year.
Yeah, and if folks are listening, and if that's the situation anyone is facing, don't hesitate to reach out directly to the commission. I know Commissioner Shalene Title has been someone who's been paying very close attention to this issue. Don't feel like you're alone. If you are faced with a potential closure of your adult use business, reach out to, you can reach out to the Young Jurks or Commissioner Title or your lawmakers. I can't guarantee you will be able to fix the problem, but at the very least, we'll be able to allow you to speak to some people who can take your story and hopefully build up a program to, if not save you, save anyone else from having to go through that. So please don't feel like you're alone, and don't hesitate to reach out and ask for help if you are trying to keep your business alive right now.
And Grant, have you been in contact with any folks directly about this issue, like folks that might be in danger of losing their business?
I know multiple people who, I won't reveal any information for privacy purposes, but I know multiple people who right now have been in the state licensing queue for over a year. And because of the fact that adult use operations are shut down, they're now facing insolvency. And so these are people who have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars of their savings to get into an industry that some of them were promised would be a way to uplift and engender some equity after they suffered at the hands of a racist drug war for years on end. But now what we're seeing is that, at least for the time being, the only people operating are these giant medical dispensaries, some of which, like one company, Sierra Naturals, are owned by $1 billion conglomerates as their parent company. In that case, it's the Canadian giant AYR. So the fact that we have a system right now that is economically harming those who it was supposed to help, while uplifting corporate entities that sometimes are not even from this state or even this country, is abhorrent, and it absolutely needs to change. So I hope Governor Baker and some other elected officials are picking up on the nuance of what that order to shut down adult use in the Commonwealth has done, and hopefully they'll be willing to take proactive steps going forward in a way that they feel comfortable with and in a way that protects public safety, so that these companies are not shut down and these people's lives are not ruined.
Grant, has there been, so obviously there's going to be a lot of folks out there that aren't going to have access to cannabis, and frankly, there's a lot of folks that use it, that purchase it sort of recreationally, but they really do use it medicinally. Is Massachusetts having any movement or doing anything around the idea of caregivers and giving folks alternative? Caregivers do exist in Massachusetts, which basically they're alternative vehicles for folks with medical cards to have access to cannabis as opposed to going to a dispensary. Offhand, do you happen to know? Because I'm not sure if it was Massachusetts or another state. I know that there's been some movement with caregivers in different states. Is Massachusetts considering something right now with caregivers, considering the situation?
Well, not considering the situation, but yes, there is movement on the caregiver front. That's a very good question. Thank you for bringing it up. So for those who are unaware, basically, if you become a medical cannabis patient in Massachusetts now, which is actually the only legal way to obtain cannabis right now, as we were just talking about, One, folks should know you can do so via telemedicine. So you don't have to go to a doctor's office to get your medical cannabis certification right now. You can simply call a cannabis doctor. They'll do the consultation over the phone. But secondly, if you do become a patient, you have two options for how you can obtain your cannabis. Option one would be to go to a retail cannabis dispensary and pay retail price. Now, some of these dispensaries charge as much as $50 per eighth and up to $350 or $400 per ounce for their flower. So for folks like myself on a fixed income, that would be over 50% of our monthly income just to get 1 ounce of flower. So a lot of us don't go to those dispensaries because even with their hardship programs, you only get about 10% off, which is very nice, but $35 off $400 is still 50% of someone on a fixed income, their monthly stipend from, say, disability or Social Security. So the second route that's a lot cheaper is something called a caregiver. Now, in Massachusetts right now, what a patient like myself or someone else would have the ability to do is pick someone and designate them as their personal caregiver. This allows that caregiver to grow the cannabis that the patient needs for a 60-day supply and then bring it to the patient. Now, that patient can give the caregiver money, but only enough money to cover the cost of growing the cannabis. Now, this structure leads to a 75% reduction in out-of-pocket costs for the most vulnerable patients, which is crucial. However, right now, caregivers are limited to only working with one patient at any given time, although patients can select up to two caregivers at once. The problem with that system is that a lot of patients, especially who are fiscally vulnerable, have no access to a caregiver with an open slot. So something I've been working on actually as a personal passion project for 3 years now is I've been asking the Cannabis Control Commission to extend that one-to-one patient limit to instead 10 patients per caregiver. And the goal of that would be to allow those caregivers to grow enough for the 10 patients, charge them no more than the cost to grow the plant, and not act as a for-profit or a retail operation, but instead just basically a very small, smaller than a micro business caregiver operation. Now, this has raised some concerns because for multiple reasons, but the commission wants the Cannabis Control Commission wants a way to make sure these caregivers aren't diverting any of the medicine they're growing, which means selling it on the traditional market. And so right now the commission's going through a redraft of its regulatory framework over the next few months, starting in May. And for folks who'd like to ensure that that ratio is expanded from one patient per caregiver to 10, and for folks who want to make sure that's done in a way that doesn't subject these caregivers to, warrantless searches or anything like that, I encourage you to, follow my Facebook page, follow the Young Jurks, because we'll be giving folks information about how to write into the Cannabis Control Commission on this issue and ensure that patients and their caregivers are allowed to obtain this low-cost medication. Because what we don't want to do is see a situation where patients, like under the original medical law in 2012, are banned from growing or having their caregiver grow if they live within a certain range of a dispensary or anything like that. We really don't want the regulatory system set up to force patients to prop up these RMDs that are charging them so much money. So I'm trying to work on building an alternative system for lower cost access. Now, this is going to cause some blowback from those medical dispensaries who are not going to like the fact that these vulnerable low-income patients have a pathway to legal cannabis that is so cheap. But you know what? We cannot design our regulatory system around the profits of medical dispensaries, in particular when some of them are owned by $1 billion companies. So I have very little sympathy for anyone who suggests that the structure for caregivers that I'm proposing shouldn't happen because it undermines the ability of those dispensaries to profit. I find that argument abhorrent, and I've already heard it made once or twice, and I won't even indulge it because I find it to be that grotesque.
Well, and Grant, certainly even the idea of somebody who's eligible to engage, somebody with a medical card who's eligible to engage with a caregiver, for that caregiver to begin to provide for that patient in a new manner, we're talking about a good, 4.5 to 5 month turnaround. And so, certainly, I would implore, not just the state of Massachusetts, but really folks all over the place to just really think about it, what's more important. Is it more important that folks that truly need access to this, especially right now, is it more important that those folks have access to it, or that we're concerned that somebody manages to divert an ounce or two where they think it shouldn't belong? I mean, it's I understand, we don't want to start a slippery slope of non-compliance, but at the same time, there needs to be a way. If it's about compliance, then the state should just figure out how caregivers can operate in an expanded way that can be more compassionate to the people that need it and still yet remain compliant. I mean, I think there's got to be a way to do that, and we can't wait. And again, even right now, if the three of us all went out and found a caregiver, we're talking about 5 months before that caregiver legally is supposed to really be able to provide medicine for us, unless they're somehow getting it in a way that they weren't supposed to. So,
yeah, and that's really the key, right? Which is finding a way to create this structure for caregivers like exists now, where basically caregivers can do a small personal grow for a patient or a few patients without being subject to the onerous regulatory burdens that cause these other establishments to have to charge patients so much. So that's definitely the line that has to be walked. And I think just like with adult use, if someone is diverting or taking the cannabis and introducing it to the traditional market illegally, there are remedies for that. Just 6 or 8 months ago, there was an adult use operator who was selling his legally produced cannabis on the traditional market illegally. He got caught. The commission suspended his license. He faced criminal charges. And that's what I think the commission could do for caregivers as well. If a caregiver is diverting legally produced medication, it is very easy for the commission to develop a schema whereby that person cannot become a registered caregiver for, say, 5 years. And then they would also, of course, be subject to existing criminal penalties. So I think there are ways to remedy that concern.
Agreed. Grant, you were super patient with us because we were running a little late. We really appreciate it. Is there anything that we're forgetting to cover right now that happened over the last week?
Oh, goodness. No, we did a deep dive today. I'm really grateful that you guys were willing to give me that time to really dive into the nuance. I think these kind of substantive policy discussions are the way that the community can stay informed in a way that keeps a check on any nefarious malfeasance or corruption that might go on. So I'm really grateful for you allowing me to use the platform to get this information out there. And I can't thank you enough, as always, for having me on.
Well, Grant, I mean, quite frankly, I think there's more people that want to watch you than want to watch us. So we appreciate you lending your credibility to us. We try to have like a sort of fun and irreverent daily, sort of cannabis positive show. And but you're definitely helping us with conversations that there's a lot of folks out there that want to hear some of this stuff. And I think it's nice to be able to, for folks to be able to get you for like a good 15 minutes as opposed to maybe an hour, where attention spans don't always last and life doesn't always allow for people to listen that long. So to really have like a condensed summary of what's going on, I think is amazing for folks. And there's a lot of folks that are vocalizing sort of similar sentiments in the comments. So we really appreciate you, Grant.
Wonderful. Yes, thank you so much. And, as we've been saying, I'll try to come back every Saturday for a, condensed Young Jerk segment with you guys. And I'm really looking forward to it. So thank you again.
Yeah. So everyone, make sure you're following Grant Smith over at the Young Jerks on Facebook and at midnightmass.substack.com.
Got it.
Grant Smith, thank you so much. We'll see you next Saturday.
Have a good one, man.
I will. Nice to see you, Eric. Nice to talk to you,
you
Michael.
too,
Have
man.
a good day, guys.
Bye, Grant. Grant Smith's awesome. Shout out to Shailene Title. We saw you in the comments. We and everyone else appreciate you, and we know that the CCC, that it's never easy. It's a real tough balance. But Shailene, we know you're one of the good ones, and we're all really lucky to have somebody in your position that's fighting for the folks on this side. So I know a lot of folks in a lot of other places have it much worse. So we're lucky to have you. That said,
Shailene.
yeah, I'm a big Shailene fanboy. I can't help it.
Might got a big crush on you.
No, Shailene's married, happily married.
That don't mean he can't crush on you.
So before we moving right along, before we forget, we've got a contest today. It's actually a pretty big one, and it's that we're giving away both jam and face masks, like real face masks all. And so the jam is sponsored by Averill. It's the Infused Jam.
She said.
And the masks are actually sponsored by the Pheno Cup, which you're a judge of this year. We're keeping our fingers crossed that
I can't wait.
it's still going to be happening. Yeah,
better be growing
that's
some
exciting.
good weed, because if it ain't good, I ain't smoking it.
Well, you are a judge, so you're kind of smoking all of it, or at least
Not
touching
if
it, or at least touching it.
Not if it look bad. You finna trick me. Finna have me out here, lungs burning.
We were talking to the Pheno Cup guys last night about you doing like a special nighttime episode where you're trying out all the stuff for the cup.
Oh yeah, and then I gotta review it.
Or just talk about it, and maybe we have like another judge remotely who also has the same package of stuff, and you both are like trying it and talking about it. I don't know.
Y'all better hope y'all got some good, but y'all better hope y'all growing good if you in a Pheno Cup, because if I gotta do this over camera and talk about weed, I'ma be honest.
So the contest. The contest right now, for those of you that have forgotten, is that you are tagging a vet, and then also in that same comment, trying to guess Eric's favorite cartoon.
Ooh, that was a good one, Trish. Scooby Dooby Doo.
So you can have as many guesses as you want. Just tag.
Got some work to do now. Scooby Dooby.
Figure it out so that they're sort of unique.
Where
I
are
guess,
you?
is what I'm trying to say.
Come on, Scooby Doo. I see you. Waiting in you.
What was Mutty again? Is he Dr. Funk? I forget. It's not Dr. Fire, because that's Keith.
Dr. Fire.
I'm so sorry, Mutty. I don't know why I'm forgetting, but it's Dr. something.
Come on, Mutty, tell us.
Somebody tell us.
Hey, Kendra.
We don't need to wait for that. So that's the contest. So tag a vet.
Dr. Kind.
Dr. Kind, thank you. And then also tag a vet, and then in the same
Dr. B. Dank is what Adam said.
No, it's Dr. Dank. Kind. It's Dr. Kind. So you're tagging a vet to like bring them in too. They can play too. They can. And then if you win, you will get Infused Jam and a mask, and your veteran
Andrew Mutty confirmed.
Friend.
It is Dr. Kind.
Cool.
Still gotta guess my cartoon. I ain't seen it yet. Oh, I'm gonna give y'all a hint. Let me give y'all a hint then, since y'all all falling asleep on the cartoons. And none of y'all know y'all cartoons. This cartoon was in the Looney Tunes era. Oh, that was a good one. That was a good one. This cartoon was in the Looney Tunes era. That is the hint.
Dr. Dank is our bud, Mark. Yeah. I will definitely take some croissants.
Katrina said you don't believe us, Eric. What am I supposed to be believing?
So, by the way, I realized why I was so draggy for a couple of days because I stopped taking vitamins and stuff in the morning. Because you freaked me out when you were like, your liver's going to fail. Your kidneys are going to fail from taking vitamins.
I didn't say don't take them. I just said don't take them all at once.
Well, it's either like, I can either like feel a little peppy and die an early liver-ridden something, or I can drag ass and be asleep all the time. By the way, thanks everyone for watching us today. We really appreciate all of you guys. And shout out to Brian Riccio. Shout out to Shailene Title. Hako, we see you. Derek. And Vivian. Vivian Kessel.
That was a fruit cup.
Ooh.
So good.
This will be interesting.
Oh. Sorry, Katrina. I'm sorry. I was just making sure. Wait, go to the comments. Real quick. I missed some of the comments. Scroll up.
Oh, this one's not easy to...
Scroll up. Keep going. Somebody said it.
You can message Scott.
Scotty Too Hotty, check your messages. Finna message you.
So remember, when you're making a guess, you also have to tag a vet. It's not enough to just name the cartoon. You have to tag a vet other than yourself and... Because that's the way it goes.
Captain Planet, he's a hero. Back to zero.
And so, by the way, when you tag your vet friend, when they come into the comments and they're like, what the hell are you tagging me for? Be like, yo, this show every day gives away awesome stuff, and... Excuse me. And I'm trying to win you some awesome stuff right now. And so the masks are pretty awesome. Like, they're all individually wrapped, and the Pheno Cup, the good folks at the Pheno Cup are going to mail it out to you. And then, So, Ashley, there's veterans. What you can do is, hey, everyone in the audience right now, Ashley doesn't know any veterans. Why don't you give her some ideas of veterans that she could tag in her guesses so that she and a lucky veteran could win today? And so, y'all know, if you've all tried to buy masks, you know, you just, I don't know. Apparently it's not easy and they're expensive, so you each get a mask and then you each get
the
some
Flintstones.
jam.
The Flintstones, Daffy Duck.
Jam. But you
Bugs
definitely
Bunny?
know a veteran. You just can't think of one right now. But you know of a
Bugs
veteran.
Bunny's a good one.
You know veterans.
Bugs Bunny's a good one. Broncos, Modern Life.
Gonna
Real
take
monsters.
pollution down. So
Ooh,
Hako
y'all
is helping
sending
out.
me back. Y'all sending me back to my young days with these answers. Making me feel like I'm a oldie.
They're all going to be really upset when they find out that your favorite cartoon is like Steamboat Mickey from like the 1930s. And they'll be like, what?
Steamboat Mickey. Hell nah. I'm watching that.
So, Rebecca, you have amazing guesses. Make sure you're also tagging a vet in each of those, because those guesses won't count if there's not also a vet in the same comment.
Make sure you put
Just gotta do it.
a vet
Gotta do it.
next to your comment. Remember the hint was it's from
From what? Looney Tunes.
Looney Tunes. That's what it was.
Is
I'm
it?
sorry. Yeah, it's from the Looney Tunes era.
Oh, from the era.
Yeah, the Looney Tunes.
All right,
Not
folks.
from the
It's
Looney Tunes. That's what I said.
Yeah, it's important to remember that
I
it's
said
from that. Well, Looney Tunes is still going. Isn't Looney Tunes like forever? They're like from the 70s and on, but that's all right. They're still making Looney Tunes.
Animaniacs.
Yeah, Animaniacs is awesome. That's such an underrated show. That was like
Animaniacs.
That was the cockiest, funniest show that was also teaching you stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, there were other shows teaching you stuff, but they were like sweet shows, you know, like pleasant shows. Animaniacs was good.
It's all wrapped around my leg.
He's,
All right.
he's talking about the
Do
mic
you
cord.
want to do?
Your leg's all wrapped around my leg. He's talking about the mic cord.
Yeah, it was right.
Not anything else.
What?
I don't know. It's a weird.
Did y'all hear that? Mike over here.
So
Mike
Honko, you
always start
can
with this.
tag the same vet if you want, or
I'm
you can
trying to
tag
change the
different
subject,
vets.
y'all. Y'all heard Mike. Mike thought I was talking about my thing being hung around my leg. Wrapped around my leg. Mike is funny, yo. This dude funny. Yeah, I want some coffee. I'm not even gonna lie.
You want me to get you a cup?
Yeah, please.
So Eric normally doesn't drink anything but iced coffee from Cumberland Farms because he has his secret recipe.
Iced coffee is the best. Yeah, I can tell y'all the recipe. So you get it ice, right? And then you go to the what machine is that called?
The hot chocolate machine.
The hot chocolate machine, and you get either French vanilla, white chocolate caramel, or you get salted caramel. You fill that up a third of the way with the ice in it, and then it comes out hot. So then the ice cools it off immediately. Then what you do is you go to the flavor station. You get caramel, French vanilla, and butter pecan or cinnamon, depending on how you feeling. And you do that twice. You do the extra large size. You do that twice. That's the flavor station. And then you go to the sugar. Or no, you go to the hot coffee, and you go to bold because you want to get the most of the caffeine. So you go to the bold side, and you fill it up about, like, I say another third, and then the final third you go to the station and you get the sugar, and you if they got the little push button thing that tell you how many cups you get or how many tablespoons you get, you push 6. You get 6, and then you get 2 extra ones just in case it's not sweet enough for y'all. I always get the extra 2. Then you go to the part where you get the little cups, the little small cups that you peel off and pour in. So you get the French vanilla ones. You get 5 of them. 5. You get 5 of them. And you sit there and you pull each one off and you pour it in. That takes a little bit of time, so you really want to make sure that you got enough time. You don't want to be rushing, because if you're rushing, you're not going to have enough time to do the 5. You only going to probably put in 2 or 3. But then after that, you go to the dairy station where they have either regular milk or they got the cream. You get cream. You don't get milk. If you get milk, it's going to taste a little funny. But if you get cream, it is just right. So you get the cream and you fill it all the way up to the tip top. And then what you do is you stir it. And if the ice ain't melted already, then you just make sure the ice don't fall out. Because you stirring it with the straw, sometimes the ice will fall out. So then as you stirring it, you get to the bottom, because that's where all the sugar is. Remember, you already put 8 tablespoons of sugar, so it's a lot of sugar at the bottom. You got to make sure you really stirring it and getting it in there. So sometimes what you can do is, after you already filled it up to the tippy top and you stirred it a little bit, you drink something to test it to make sure it's right. But you drink a little bit more than normal, so then you can fill that back up with more cream when you're about to leave. So then it's almost like you got a little bit of extra on top of your coffee. So, yeah, that's how you do it.
So if any of you ever want to bring him a coffee, just replay the last few minutes and you'll have the recipe for exactly how he likes it. Because it's a Cumberland Farms thing. You got to go to Cumberland Farms. Because any other place isn't going to have all that stuff.
You got to make sure you got at least 15 minutes to get
And by the way, did you mention that you drink part of it and then refill the rest with cream?
That's what I just said.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah,
so he needs like a sidecar, because he doesn't want you to drink his coffee.
Drink at the...
But you should like pour some out into like a little separate cup to simulate him drinking a little bit. Then pour some more cream in, and then bring them both. It's like when you go to the bar and they make you a drink, but there's extra drink, so they bring you a little extra cup full of the extra drink. It's called the sidecar. I wonder how everyone's doing with the contest, because today's contest is really cool. By the way, everyone loves the jam.
Katrina is not stealing.
We've had some really amazing contests.
You have to test your drinks before you.
No, and it's like, I mean, it's Cumberland
can't-
Farms 99-cent coffee.
You
like,
can't
they're-
you can't make a big old coffee like that and put all the extra stuff in if you don't taste it to make sure it's on point.
the flavor station. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
Eric
it's called.
definitely spends some time at the flavor
The
station.
flavor station is where it's at. If the flavor station ain't there, we can't go. If they ain't got every single item for my coffee, we can't go. See, most of the time, the little hot coffee machine, that machine be always down, and that's what pissed me off because that's the most important part. That's the key component. The key component.
So,
Andrew Mutty waiting on us. He like, yo,
what's
if
up,
y'all don't
Trish?
hurry up,
Nice to
go,
see you. I know.
swear,
Andrew's like,
I swear.
Andrew's like, I got my.
Yeah,
So,
I
Andrew,
think-
just so you know, because I know you can hear us, and we'll have you on in just a second. You look beautiful. Everything looks good. Your sounded good, and you just won't be able to see us. That's all. But we can all see you with the new layout and stuff. So, Andrew's like, get me the hell on the show already. Have you been watching? Have we had some good guesses in the comments?
Yeah, we had some decent guesses.
So anyway, everyone make sure you're
The flavor station.
you're guessing.
Now
your
every time y'all
guesses.
go get some coffee, y'all gonna be at the flavor station like, yo, this dude is right. This is a key component to this coffee.
So we're really lucky that Grant Smith comes. We're really lucky that we have like a really awesome amount of really smart people that come on and like help us to make some content.
They help us.
Can I just tell you that like Grant Smith comes on and we have like all kinds of crazy people come on and watching the show, and then Grant's segment's done and they're like poof. They're like
Reese's
they're
Pieces.
like, we just come for Grant. We just come for Grant. So all right, that's fine. Saturday mornings are going to be like the first
wanna be here
first time
with
to
y'all.
So by the way, look how like light brown that coffee is. That coffee's been sitting there brewing like forever.
Tell you, anybody want to take a coffee trip with me? We gonna have some fun. Amanda says, as long as my coffee is strong and sweet, I don't care what it tastes like. Cumbies actually said Cumbies ice is weak though. You said the ice, or are you talking about like?
No, all right. So hold on. One of the, you know how I was talking about the little tiny things of the French vanilla that you can put in. There's also ones that are like shots of espresso. So when I make mine, I take 5 of those and I basically add in 5 shots of espresso into my iced coffee. So it's not super weak, and you can use the bold stuff. And by the way, did you know that light coffee actually has more caffeine? Like the blonder the coffee, the more caffeine there is than in the dark stuff. So even though the dark stuff tastes really strong, which I like, it's actually a little bit weaker from a caffeinated standpoint. So when you drink that blonde shit, you're getting juiced more.
No, but I put dark. I put the dark, the bold coffee in.
No, I hear what you're saying. I'm just saying, you're not, see, because you like the taste of it. You're not actually like looking for like, I need crazy caffeine.
No,
Like
I do.
me,
I
I
be
go
looking for caffeine, but
So
I
have
don't look
you-
for like crazy caffeine.
Have you seen the little shots of caffeine thing?
What you should do is, if you like caffeine, you should order this stuff. It's called Dark Energy.
Okay.
If you like caffeine, it's about this much, and it's about 400 milligrams of caffeine in it.
Mm-hmm.
Look it up. It's illegal in the United States, but you can still order it. It's a lot of athletes that use it. Because if you take this much before the game, woohoo! But it's illegal now. I think they test for it. But yeah, you take that before a game.
So I want to give a quick shout out to Laura from Mascan, who just sent us a nice message.
I didn't see it.
No, not on the thing. She sent it to me privately. And she reminded me also that Mascan has been doing like educational panels and stuff with a lot of people from the Massachusetts cannabis community. So folks should go give those a check out. Because even though we have the show every day, we don't. We only have so many guests on, and so there's lots of folks out there making good cannabis content. Also, shout out to the Token Dead. They had a cool show last night too.
Oh yeah, Token Dead,
Miss
my
those guys.
dog, diggity diggity dog.
I really pissed them off when I said that we had the #1 cannabis show.
Robert said we need a GoPro chest cam. Eric's coffee escapade.
One thing I have to say is that I love Andrew Mutty's wallpaper. His characters are good, but his wallpaper on his wall is phenomenal.
The wallpaper god.
Yeah, that's probably something to do with. And look how, because it's interesting. The last times he's come on, sometimes the camera wasn't perfectly straight, so the pattern on his wallpaper throws my eye off. But he's got it perfectly aligned today. I'm pretty psyched. Not that that's reason for me to be. I'm psyched anyway today. Today's a good day.
Today was
Don't you
a
think?
good day.
Which signifies the end of the show, folks.
Boom, boom, boom.
So my dirty secret is Mountain Dew. And by the way, you'll notice I didn't put our titles down here today. I guess I kind of forgot about that. It'll be in tomorrow. We'll go back to having the cool little thing. Muddy, let me know when you're all set. Okay. And Muddy, have we come up with an official name for your segment yet? No. Okay, we'll figure that out. I didn't know if we had talked about it and I was forgetting. I'm glad to know that I wasn't forgetting. I forget a lot of stuff these days. So, ladies and gentlemen, to continue on with our awesome show today, up next we have Andrew Mutty, a.k.a. Dr. Kind, co-founder of Beantown, Greentown. And today he's coming back for a continued series of coming to teach us really awesome cultivation tricks. And today he's going to talk to us all about LST, which is low stress training. So,
oh yeah, you're going to talk about that LSD.
So, Andrew Mutty, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. And we're going to get into talking about LSD tomorrow. So
that's right, because you actually have an awesome guest on your new show, which is Sundays at 4:20. 4:20 is when you'll be on. Maybe on a little bit earlier, but 4:20 is when you'll be on. And so tell us about the show tomorrow, by the way.
So tomorrow is our second attempt to have this hilarious Beantown, Greentown show just come on. What we wanted to do is design a show that was, sort of informative, but not really, just kind of current events and what's happening. We want to bring in all of the pieces of the Beantown, Greentown puzzle, everybody that's part of our group to come together on one day and have a good time together and just give you guys fun stuff to watch. It's at 4:20 Eastern Standard Time. And what we want to encourage people to do is go out and enjoy 4:20 with us. Spark it, start lighting it up, because we're going to bring some funny stuff. We have a couple of segments that are going to be, a little borderline and kind of hilarious. We're going to bring in special guests. We're going to save all the growing stuff for your show and doing all these tips. But we're going to talk about a lot of other things, whether, it's cannabis related or not, but they're relevant to us. And that's what's going to be fun. So this week is a California friend of mine. One of my surf buddies ended up linking up with this guy named Travis Ashbrook. And it turns out he's one of the original founders of the Brotherhood of Eternal Love. And these guys started the LSD movement. And it wasn't until a while into their experience that the famous Timothy Leary joined their group. So there's a lot of people that believe Timothy Leary was the man. He did everything. But the truth of the matter is that the story was built a lot more before he was even in the picture. And some of these guys, like Travis, was part of that original crew. So they believed they were going to change the world. They believed that if you put all the world leaders in one room and gave them LSD, the world would be a completely different place than it is right now. So for all y'all that out there that have tried LSD, you can probably understand that that may be true. And it all might just make people go a little silly for a long time. But that'll be tomorrow. And we're working out a couple of kinks, a little production stuff, but we got a nice little set at Beantown, Greentown headquarters that we've set up, and we're gonna kick it off right there.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we're excited for your second show tomorrow.
Yeah,
First
so
one was
we're
awesome.
gonna have fun. Yeah, we want to have a sports section too. So Eric, you ready for this?
I'm ready. You finna hear my. You gonna hear me talk about a draft pick today that the Patriots picked up that I'm excited about. So that'll be my resume for you. Check that out.
Did you say draft? I'm sorry, I fell asleep real quick.
Oh, and Andrew Mutty's thing is done.
Hey, we got to set the bar somewhere. You know what I mean? So when it comes to football, that's your knowledge. When it comes to action sports and everything else fun out there, that's me.
Wasn't you an athlete
so we'll go back
too?
And forth. Say that again?
Wasn't you an athlete too?
I was, yeah. I was a snowboarder myself.
Yeah. I did snowboarding.
Did you?
The only thing, I did a little bit of it. The only thing that I didn't like about it is when I get in the air, I can't really control my legs, so you kind of like a fish and jumping out of water, and I don't really like that feeling.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I played football for a little while, Pop Warner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What position?
Yeah, I was. I didn't even get there. I went through all the practices, and then there was this one kid that just thought he was gonna murder me, so he kept taking me out as a leg. And I like to skateboard, so I need my legs. And I was like, this is not fun for me, you know. This dude's just trying to take me out. I'm not interested in that. So I kept skateboarding. I kept doing it for myself, you know. Screw team sport. Bye. So, but hey, you guys are talking about the feet.
We're gonna have to go snowboarding together. We're gonna have to go snowboarding together.
Oh, without a doubt, I'll show you all around. I know all these resorts out here in New England. So
we had somebody ski down a hill. We got to make sure we get you to do that this next year.
Hey, let's do a live broadcast from like Loon Mountain or something.
Yeah, right. That'd be cool.
Yeah, in the Bunyan Room. That's a fun spot.
They said you was a pro snowboarder.
Oh yeah.
For real?
Yeah. So he started this whole thing where we drove by the parking garage in Boston that he basically jumped off the top of the parking garage and landed on like a giant ramp of snow to go down. And he started this whole thing where people started copying him and doing crazy shit from all over the world and videotaping it of them basically jumping off parking garages onto big ramps of snow.
That's crazy.
And how high up was it? There it is. How high up were you?
It was probably about 40 feet. Like you can count the levels, you know. This is 1, 2, but you know, I'd say 30-something feet. But
hell nah.
That's crazy.
This is my grandma. This is my grandmother's copy. She wrote my name right on it. You know, Andrew sent it to me.
And you guys actually like piled up all that snow so that you could do the trick, right?
So this pile of snow right here gets built up like at the parking garage. When it snows on top of the parking garage, they push all the snow to the corner and then they dump it over the edge. When they dump it over the edge, it forms this perfect transition to kind of snowboard down. So I said city cliff jumping, and I'm going to drop that baby and get right up in there. So yeah, this is one of my claims to fame, I guess you might want to call it. So
awesome.
20 years ago, that magazine was printed.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Unbelievable. Time flies, man.
Well, hey, show us some grow tips today.
Yeah. Well, hey, before I get there, you guys are talking about the Pheno Cup, right?
Yes.
Here we go. This plant right back here is Brothers Grimm. They're Queen of Soul. It's a 9-week flower, but she's looking mighty impressive. There's a little bit of LSD going on here that I want to show you with the technique that we've done with it, but other than that, we'll kind of get into it. All right. So plants.
Oh, and by the way, when you want me to bring up your photos, just let me know so this way I can bring them up for you. Yeah.
Okay. Totally. So cannabis plants grow on one main stalk, and you know they look a lot like Christmas trees. You know, the sativa plants grow a lot taller. Indica plants grow a lot shorter. And one of the greatest things about cannabis plants is you can manipulate them. You can literally bend the stalk all the way down like this. When you do that, you're encouraging the lower branches to grow up. and it's creating more of a bush. That's what we have going on with this Queen of Soul back here. But we do it to create more tops. Ultimately, you want to increase your yield. So what can you do to increase yield? There's a couple of things, and one of them is called LST, which is known as low stress training. And you can call it HST, which is high stress training, but it's basically topping and stimming the plant. You're basically cutting off its growth patterns north, and you're encouraging all the lower branches to branch out and grow more colas as well. They're trying to catch up to the other ones up the top. So this is a technique that I've been doing for years because I try to stuff my garden with as least amount of plants, but as much of a canopy top as I can get. So this plant right here is Putang by Mass Medical. She's a little hungry. She's been starved in this pot, so she needs a little more nutrients. But what's important here is I'm going to show you. I'm going to get right up in here with you. Spread her apart like this. So you see right inside here, we topped this plant. And if you notice right here, she's been topped. And when you top her like that, it encourages all these branches down below to come right up. Now you can also see that when you look at this, that the ones up top are still growing really fast. And all these other ones are still trying to catch up. One of the things that we do is called low stress training. So what I've already done ahead of time to get ready for this is there's all these holes that are pre-drilled in the side of the pot. And I like using these things. These things are called wire ties. There's a couple of different companies that make some nice ones. There's Canna Tie that makes a nice rubber gasket with some wire inside. And they say it helps protect the plants a little bit. Honestly, when you're on a budget and you don't want to afford something on a higher level, you can use anything you want. And these are super cheap. They come in long rolls like this. They call them tomato ties, but you can literally pull out as much of this as you want and just keep using it. Then you can throw them away. You can reuse them, recycle them. This is my technique. This is what I like to use. And anybody can use any other thing that you want. It's up to you. You can get creative and get crazy. I've used the little ties that you put on bread before, just because I wanted the LSPs and stuff, and I didn't have any time there. So what I was always in love with was these guys. They're easy to manipulate. They work really well. So to get started, I'm going to go to the very top branch, because what I want to see happen here is I want this top branch to come down like this and encourage these branches to grow taller. The other thing I want to do is that I want to encourage all these little nodes right here. If you look right here, there's these two nodes that are ready to grow, right? So we're going to do a little bit of stripping. We're going to strip these two leaves right off of here. And I believe that also helps these nodes grow a little faster. It's just a small little pinch. You can pinch them right off. They'll come right off, just like that. All right, and then that gives them more light in that area. And then these will turn and go straight up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, and I'm going to just tie my my little burpee tie here right around it like that, very loose. You don't want to like crunch it too hard. You keep it like that. And if you notice, boom, it stays, right? Not a big deal. So I'll go to the other side and I'll do the same thing. So I'll find that branch. I'm going to bring that baby right down here. Go right up there, go around just a couple times, nice and loose. And that basically holds it down. So then I'll go back into that same branch, just like I did with the last one. I'm actually going to take off these leaves. Now, there's many theories to this. There's so many people that are like, don't touch the leaves, don't touch the leaves. And then there's so many people that are like, strip it all the way up. And you see these beautiful plants that look like bonsai trees with nothing but huge stalks and then big buds at the top. So do what you like. Do what the plant likes. Do what is encouraged to is what's successful for you. So, all right. So now that you notice, I took the two main branches and I tied them down like this, and all these other branches are going to continue to grow north. If you want to get aggressive, you can also continue to tie down the rest of these. So I'm going to tie down this one just for an example, just to show you what happens. I'm going to tie down this one over here. Boom, boom, boom. I'm going to basically use every tie down that I have just to show you what it looks like. All right, I got one more that I want to see come down. So what's cool about this is, if you look at the very bottom of the plant, like way down in here, kind of hard to see. Oh yeah, so way down in here, these branches, I'm not going to tie those down. Those babies are right about here, and they're going to keep growing. I'm going to let those grow up to about here, like way up here. When they get up there, and I'm happy with that result, I'm going to release the rest of these, and then they're all going to grow at the same time to the same point of light, which would either be the sun or your light that you have in your tent or your grow area. So when you look down on this, it's a pretty fabulous little stretch out. See that? Yep. So you're creating all these little zones for new branches to come up. Here's one right here that I like to look at. This little baby. These two will form 2 colas. These two will form 2 colas. We started with 8 colas. By the time this plant reaches the time that I want to transplant it and put it into flower, I'll probably have 20, 25 colas on this that are ready to reach up to the light. And then once that happens, we'll get into another technique further down the line called scrogging. They call it sea of green. Basically, you take a trellis net, you pull it out, and then you allow them to come up through the trellis in different areas. But that's another topic for another time. So that's pretty simple. It's pretty basic, and you just want to keep it going like this. That's low stress training. You're not pinching, topping, breaking, or anything. So a couple of things that I found over the years that I've actually done that are pretty funny. You want to show that picture number 1. Believe it or not, this baby right here could seriously help you grow bigger, fatter, bigger plants. So, you got any of those pictures up?
I do, yes.
Okay. All right, let me see. Get on the web here. The webinators. So I've taken coat hangers before just like this, just because, I haven't had anything around and I wanted to use something. I cut it into a couple of small little pieces, and you take the top just like this, bend it right down. If you notice, go back a picture. Keep going. All right, so I'll take this, and say you don't have any Swiss ties around, you could literally just take this and boom, jam it right in the soil, and it'll hold it down, just the same as the actual twist tie itself. So it's all about what you have, what you want to use, and yep, okay, so that was a good picture there. So the other series of pictures with the orange and blue mat is a demonstration of how the plant starts, and then what I do to add more tops to it, just like I did in person, and you can see it all stretched out. And at that point, you get so many more tops. It's pretty awesome. So there's an actual company out there, and believe it or not, this company's called LST, right? Low Stress Trainers. Their website's lowstresstrainer.com. I've never used this product. It's been sitting in my basement since they gave it to me, and I'm gonna highlight it now. Why not, right? So what they got is these cool little bungee cords. So these bungee cords snap, unsnap. There we go. You wrap it around your plant, you snap it back together, just like this one over here. So these are meant for 5-gallon buckets, but this is a 5-gallon fabric pot, and as you can tell, it's a little tight. I don't know how happy I am with that, so this might not last on here, but for purpose of product demonstration, give these guys a little freebie because they gave me a freebie. So they have this little hook, twist tie, and you pull it out like this. The general theory, I believe, here with these guys is you do the same thing. You kind of bring down the branch, and you probably toss this over the top like this. One device I don't like is the fact that this could fall out of there really quick. As they do this, they're going to get some product knowledge. Maybe they have round 2 on this, but you just basically do that, clip it, put the little lock in place, and then boom, it stays down. So, there's many different ways to skin the cat. There's many different ways to grow your weed. that's a low stress training product right there on the market. But here's a little thing that I want to show you too. With this Queen of Soul, we've actually done the LST to it once already, and we've continued with it. So if you notice here, I just use the zip tie, and then I use this. Fabric pots are a pain in the butt because you got to poke a hole in them, and I just put the zip tie on there because eventually I will reuse this pot, and with these on the side of it, I don't have to redo it. I just have a new place to adhere it. But let's take a look at this plant, right? So it originally started growing down here and grow all the way up, and then you see how it's bending? That's from the low stress training. Now all these branches down here started to come up and to meet the top. But I also bent her over right at the very top to continue to have more branches come up. I like to clone a lot, so I like to keep certain strains around for 2 or 3 cycles, depending upon how much I like it. So what I'll do is, now that all the tops have come up, there's a couple of straggly little branches down in here, probably like this one and the one right next to it. I will take those and clone those. The plant itself, much like a willow tree that I explained in our cloning class, the branches that are further to the ground have more hormones in them. So when you cut them and you put them in the rooting compound in your medium, they tend to root faster. So the lower the plant cut from, the better off you are. That last cloning session I cut a bunch from the top, and it took at least 2 weeks. Some of them didn't work. Some plants don't like to get cloned. Some do. You'll realize that as you're doing all your cloning and all your low stress training, some plants like this, some plants like that. So I've had a lot of success with a lot of different plants that I've grown, and there's only a few that I've kept around for quite some time because they were very friendly to cloning. They were very friendly to branching, creating new arms and new branches for more colas. So that's basically it for me today, guys. And that was a quick little lesson on LST. We can get into topping and fimming on the next class, which is a little bit of high stress training. And I find that happens a lot when plants are just going crazy and I need to slow down a branch to keep the canopy pretty even on the top. So I'll just come in and I'll pop them off, but we'll get there on the next lesson. And I'm happy to show you guys anything. And if any of you guys have questions, you can reach out to us on our Beantown Greentown Instagram. It's at Beantown_Greentown. And we give away a lot of free stuff, whether it's a low stress training kit or free commemorative joint t-shirts, hats, whatever. So did you guys happen to see the Mother's Day thing we're doing?
I think we heard a little bit about it, but tell those of us that haven't heard about it what's going on.
All right, so Dr. Fire's wife, Jen Laham, is a stylist. And,
Lady Fire, I think is what she goes by, Lady Fire. Go on.
Lady Fire, yeah, the volcano. I'm gonna call it a volcano. Anyways, she's down to take a day out of her schedule, and between not this Sunday, but next Sunday is when we're gonna give that prize away. So we're asking anybody that has crazy deep roots or a shaggy haircut with split ends and they're just a mess to send us their best worst photo. Post it online, tag us, tag what our post says, and we will select that person. We're gonna go through a bunch of the photos that we got tomorrow so that you can check and see how haggard the people are. We're not gonna shame anybody. This is
Oops. Hey, Andrew.
You went muted, buddy.
Yo, Andrew, can you hear me?
Can't hear us. Yo.
He can't see us either, though. I don't know why he can't hear us.
Yo. He can't see it.
No, you know what it is? I think he was having his audio go through. Hold on.
So Andrew's explaining right now that if you take that and you mix it with that and then you do it that way and then you move your hand this way and you put your hand up to your ear And then you can see. Oh, now he notices. So, okay.
We
Now
can't.
he's
We can't
flashing
hear
us.
you.
Now he's flashing us.
Unmute yourself.
Now he's talking. He's saying something about something.
All right, where did I lose you?
Probably about the last minute, but go for it.
I finished it off for you. Don't worry.
All right. Well, we're giving away that cool prize for Mother's Day. Did we get there?
Yes. Start from there again.
Yeah. Okay. So Jen Laham, we call her the volcano. Oh, I do, because she likes to blow up sometimes. She's a sweetheart, and she is gonna come into someone's house and cut their hair. So we want to see pictures of people's, raggedy muff. Like, we don't care. Do it up. Like, if you gotta tease it and you gotta whatever, show us your rag. We're gonna put it online tomorrow in our show, and we're gonna have a good time with it. We're not there to humiliate people. We just want everybody to see how wild and wacky the world is right now and how much we can help. So this Sunday we're gonna talk about it, and then the following Sunday we're gonna actually pick a winner. And then between that Sunday and Mother's Day, someone's gonna get a fresh new wig split and look all cute and pretty for Mother's Day. So I'm personally gonna do my wife's hair all by myself because I bought the kit, and she's got some roots she wants to have shown. So you guys talk about my wallpaper all the time.
I love your wallpaper.
My wife picked it out. She is a designer.
Designer. You gotta go.
Designer.
Well,
Yeah.
next time I want to buy something cool, I'm definitely gonna run it by her, even though she doesn't know me.
Yeah, well, she knows you now. You met her last week.
Yeah, I'm sure she would be just fine not seeing me ever again.
Well, she's just gonna have to get used to it.
Andrew, thank you so much for spending so much time with us today. There was a lot of people in the comments that loved all the information that you were given, and you definitely have fans that are waiting for Saturdays for this segment. So
Andrew Mutty.
We really appreciate you, bud. Thanks for and we're excited to see your show tomorrow.
Awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to do it. It's kind of a dream come true. I used to do a lot of video production myself, and to kind of combine all of these worlds together is a kind of a dream.
One thing, why do they call you Dr. Kind?
Because I'm the nice one. You ever meet the rest of the crew? Sticky Yicky. He's nice. Every one of us is nice, but I like to grow some kind bud, bruh. Not spelled the same, but it's kind of a play on words, a little dabble do ya. So that's where we're at.
Awesome. Well, we're excited to see your show tomorrow and to have you back on every Saturday.
Cool. Are we gonna have to give Eric a doctor name if he's coming on our show?
I guess so.
Maybe we'll do that as kind of like an audience.
Dr. Chocolate.
Thing. Dr. Dark Chocolate, right?
Awesome. Thank you, Andrew. We appreciate you, and we'll see you soon.
All right. Peace, everybody.
Peace out. Andrew Mutty, aka Dr. Kind from Beantown, Greentown. We appreciate him. So, by the way, we have one more guest today.
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Are you ready? Before we bring on Ronnie Wade, and we appreciate Ronnie for being so patient. I kind of feel like I have to tell everyone every day that I appreciate them for being so patient. But you've known Ronnie for a long time, and Ronnie's an awesome person, and Ronnie's a personal trainer at Camp Gladiator.
And Dan said Dr. Flavor Station.
Dr. Flavor Station. That's a good one.
Oh, there she is. Hey, Rhonda. Oh, she doesn't like me calling her that.
Uh-oh.
If I call her that, she's gonna freak.
Can you hear me?
Hi, we can hear you.
Oh, hey guys.
Oh, hey.
What's up? How are you?
You're not on yet, but we finna
That's okay.
we finna introduce you.
Okay. Just doing some gardening, so.
Oh, the community's gonna like to hear about your gardening because we all
different
like
kind of gardening. Different kind of gardening than y'all do.
Oh, okay. I was just.
You know, I mean, the kind that's legal in Texas.
Dang, what you did? You got the police chasing you?
You know, just a Saturday morning. Here, I'll mute you really quick so you don't have to hear that. Perks of living next to the fire station. That stuff happens all the time.
Do you want to do a little intro for her when she's ready, and then we can bring her on? We'll give her a second because I think she's grabbing some stuff. But
yeah, no.
Folks, just in
What's
case.
the backdrop look like? Does it look decent?
Remember the
good.
giveaway. So you're tagging a vet, and you
My
are
favorite cartoon.
picking Eric's favorite cartoon to see if you can win both you and the vet both a mask, a legit mask, and
Picking Eric's favorite cartoon.
Do you have a guess, Roni?
Like, if not Family Guy, then probably something like Ed, Ed, and Eddie or something from like forever ago.
Close.
That's some interesting guess. A lot of the folks in the Roni, we have. My name is Mike, by the way. We have a contest every day where we do a giveaway, and so for today's giveaway, people have to guess Eric's favorite cartoon, and they're also gonna like tag a vet so that they and the vet can both win a prize today. That's kind of like that's kind of how we're running it.
I like it. Was that close?
Oh my God, you sitting there like, oh my God, look at her.
Am I so
Everybody,
extra?
this is Ronnie Wade.
Hey guys. Hey.
Hey guys.
Hey. Hi.
There's a lot of people watching Ronnie, so
That's good. I can't actually see like what my screen looks like, so hopefully it is decent. There will probably be dogs running by at any moment. But this is my gardening chair. Been doing
she's
some
on
gardening.
her back patio being bougie
Yeah.
right now.
I know.
She's in
figured
Texas,
I
so that's
wouldn't
why
start
it's so
drinking.
warm.
Yeah,
She
it's
can sit
beautiful.
outside, unlike us.
Is it
And
snowing there?
No, it's not.
snowing, but
No, it's actually a
it's
beautiful
just-
day today.
It's just windy and cold, natural East Coast
That's
weather.
like some East Coast stuff. You know that like we come from sunshine, where it's like if it's nice, you know it's going to be nice for like the next couple weeks.
That's
Like
why my beard ain't growing in the way it should be.
why your beard's not growing, the weather
Yeah.
affects your beard growth. Please.
Yeah, when I get that humid hot heat, it blossoms. But then when I get here to the East Coast and it's all dry and shriveled and cold,
That sounds like you just need a good beard oil.
Well, and Ronnie, that's he.
I got a whole routine.
He's got a
It
beard.
take me about 45 minutes to get ready in the morning with this
You're
beard.
so extra.
He's got like an. He's
For
got like
somebody
a.
with no hair, you have so much
Wait, hold
effort into
hold on now. We're not gonna sit here and talk about my beard.
Okay, you're right. It's your
I got-
podcast. I won't throw salt.
it's plenty
you're
hair.
right.
It's enough. It's enough. But
Okay, whatever
so Ronnie is a personal trainer. She was a she did marketing. She was a big into marketing. She's good at negotiating. She's good at telling people what to do. She's good at making her own deals and being a boss lady. And so
Yeah,
she was,
negotiating, all that fun stuff.
and then so she was like, "Hey, if I can be a boss that way, I'll just go and tell people to run and jump and do that kind of stuff." So yes, Ronnie is a personal trainer. I did have the luxury of doing her workouts last week. I couldn't make it in this week because I was a little sore and my body hurt
Oh,
now.
excuses. You're so full of excuses, but it's okay.
I am hurting. Ask Mike.
Oh,
Mike will tell you.
Okay,
Mike will tell you I
stretch?
barely go to
Do
sleep.
you hydrate? Do you foam roll? The best thing to do is to continue to move. That's just going to flush that lactic acid out of your
So
muscles.
you guys
That will
hear
just-
this? You guys hear how bossy she is? As you can see, it's starting to
Okay,
come out a
sir.
little bit.
I did not say anything else about your beard, and I need you to be nice to me.
Boss lady.
So everybody, this is Ronnie, but she's a personal trainer, and I've been doing. She does online workouts.
Yep. So usually, I work with Camp Gladiator. I am a partner trainer through them, and so usually, like we're outdoor group fitness, but thanks to COVID, we've kind of had to pivot into like a virtual space. So we're using Zoom for everything. It's just like a full body functional 60 minutes. It's always something different. It's always led by a certified personal trainer. Just really kind of encouraging you, helping correct your form. That's the best thing about still being able to see everybody is that I can still, like Eric, how you were, am I allowed to say half-assed?
Go ahead.
Oh, okay, good. I don't
You
know
talk
if there's
about
like,
me.
I don't know that. I don't know the age limit here. Yeah, when you were half-assing
yeah,
those
you can
reps,
cuss.
I had to call you out. Like, are we really doing this? Is this out of all the people on here? I have to correct you. But it was
That's just so everybody know out there. I am still human. Okay, I still make mistakes. Just because I'm a football
I know
player
that's right.
don't mean I'm like perfect in everything I do. I still suck at working out, and even though
Trying to
this
half-ass your way through. But I didn't let it happen.
it wasn't half-assing. I haven't been on a strict workout
Why are you
protocol.
lying to these people?
I haven't. I do jailhouse workouts every day. I haven't been on a strict workout every morning, waking up at the crack of
And that's
dawn,
fine.
working out.
But I'd still rather it be quality over quantity. Instead of just churning out a bunch of half-ass reps, I'd rather you slow it down, do it right.
And I'm doing them in a bad area. It was real tight. I'm a big person. I get claustrophobic easy, so
oh gosh,
it's just
More
a lot of
excuses.
things. It's a lot of factors that prevent me from getting better, and I battle through these factors, and sometimes it causes you to focus on other things while you're working out. So she apparently calls it half-assing.
I'm proud of you for showing up anyway. With all of this adversity, you still showed up. You still did.
No, I'm showing up
minutes.
next week. I'm showing up next week though. Seriously.
Good, because next week's peak week.
Huh?
So every week it builds on itself. So the first is a 4-week camp style. For the first week is endurance week. So we're starting with a strong foundation. We're building that base. It's going to be cardiovascular endurance. It's going to be muscular endurance. And that's just really the focus for week 1, just kind of getting you ready to really start building on for the next couple weeks. The second week is strength and agility week. So we're going to increase our dumbbell weight a little bit. We're going to really work on our agility, our balance, a lot of core stabilization techniques, because this is like functional stuff. So, for example, like I'd never want to make 2 trips when I come back from the grocery store. So I load my arms down with a whole bunch of groceries, and that's the equivalent of when we do like farmer's carries. So we'll hold our weight by our sides. So it's just kind of like functional stuff that's translatable into like every day. So then week 3 is what we just finished. That's interval week. So that's really focusing on like metabolic training. So it'll be like 45 seconds of hard work, and then we're going to rest and get that heart rate down. So working on really building that heart rate, bringing it back down.
Real quick, Ronnie. So JT in the comments said, Ronnie, are your workouts online free, or do you need to subscribe? Also, what kind of equipment do you need?
Okay, so they were free. We're in the middle of a promotion right now. It was a 6-week promotion. We just finished our 3rd week. So the remaining 3 weeks is $19. Eric, I can send you the code, the info. It's just like an online registration through Camp Gladiator's website. And you would just select me as your preferred trainer. It'll email you with my camp times. The cool thing about it is that you can go to anybody, though. Like there are over 1,000 Camp Gladiator trainers across the country.
So our super fan, they put the Camp Gladiator Instagram in the comments.
Yeah. So yeah, good looking out. So I'm sure that on the Camp Gladiator's Instagram, they probably have like the link or whatever on there. It's probably to our Choose to Move challenge, which I said we're halfway through. But just select me as a preferred trainer, and then it'll go through. It'll email you my camp times and details, my cell number. And then in terms of equipment you need, we always just use a yoga mat if you have one, any type of fitness mat. If you don't, just grab a towel, just something to put under you while you're like laying down doing anything on the mat. And then I always recommend a set of dumbbells, which apparently are like super hard to come by right now. So you can just grab a couple gallons of water, or whatever you have that's around that could be used, kind of like that functional thing I was saying, like carrying groceries in, whatever would be the equivalent of like a good heavy amount that you would kind of be actually like challenging yourself. You don't want to like go grab a can of soup and just churn out 100 reps with that, because you aren't really getting any resistance.
Okay, so if they want to sign up with you through Camp Gladiator, what do they have to do?
So they would, I have a link on my Facebook. I could actually like send that to y'all, and then you could post it somewhere. Is that okay? Y'all do that?
Of course.
Okay. Yeah, let's just do that, because that's probably the easier thing than having to try to get people to try to find me and whatever else. But there's just a link. It'll just say register for our Choose to Move challenge, and there's a promo code that will take $20 off, just so those last 3 weeks are only $19 for people.
And we actually pasted your Instagram account. Oh, up there, yeah.
Cool. I have it locked down. I have I almost got married once and I didn't, and so then like sometimes he stalks me, and so I keep my Instagram locked down. But it just send a follow request. I'll approve it. Call it good. But yeah.
That's when that's because Ronnie is a beautiful woman, and so she gets stalked by all her exes. I'm sure any woman has.
I've never had one not come back. I'm sure y'all can relate to that. But I feel like the problem's not me, right? Like it can't be.
Yeah, I hear.
I mean, I've never.
Okay, Ronnie is hilarious.
Yeah, so I can't be the problem. I mean, I'm the common denominator, but I'm not the problem.
So I love it. Okay, so Ronnie, after this is all over, would they still be able to sign up through you? Will you still be doing online stuff?
There's some sort like we're kind of figuring out what that's going to look like. Our in-person membership, we call it a bold membership. It's along the same lines. If you can go to any trainer, any location. We're in Nashville, we're in Florida, we're in Texas, obviously. We're growing like crazy. We just opened Atlanta in January, so it's actually the fastest growing fitness movement, fitness company in the nation. So we're growing like crazy, but when we launch a new area, we want to do it the right way. So I know that virtual will stay in some capacity. We don't know exactly the details on what that's going to look like yet, just because all of this has happened so quickly and we've had to just adjust so quickly. But in some capacity, our CEOs were just talking about keeping it in some variation. We just don't know exactly what that looks like yet. It will continue to develop. So the cool thing about this $19 thing I was just talking about, once that's done, you don't have any reoccurring fees or anything like that. You're not signing up for a membership. But this is just a good way to try it out. It's a cheap price point. It's a great way to get moving. I mean, we could all use a little bit of that right now. So
yeah, definitely. Yeah. So do you have any stories you'd like to share about us that the people would love to hear?
Oh man,
it can be embarrassing. I don't care. I don't care.
I'm not gonna embarrass you. I think like the first story that comes to mind is like one of our first college parties.
Yeah, that's what I was just telling Mike about. All right, actually, I was telling everybody about it in the beginning.
I don't even know if I should like share it though. I don't even.
No, you go ahead. We don't care. We had a good time.
First of all, you were just barely 18, I was still 17.
I was 7. I showed up to college at 17.
Yeah, same.
I showed up
but your
3 days
birthday's
before
a few
my
months
birthday.
Before me. Okay, so I guess so neither of us really drank in high school. We both played sports. Obviously, I don't know if y'all know that he played sports, but yeah. So we go to college and we met. I don't know. We were a couple weeks in because I started as an ag business major, and so I was hanging out with a lot of the ag kids. But they kept getting these MIPs, these minor in possession. Like they were getting them hot. Like, and Lincoln police were on it. Like they kept handing those out. And so my parents were super strict. I mean, like put the fear of God in me. I was too afraid to even be hanging out with these kids anymore because I'm like, y'all are going to get me in trouble. Like I'm going to be guilty by association. And so one night I was with these people at a country. It was like a dancing. I don't know. What would you call it? What was that place, Eric?
Oh, you talking about Playmore?
Playmore.
Yeah, it was a country. So Playmore was a country dancing place in Nebraska. It's just like a club, but it's literally for country people.
I guess. I don't know.
And they all do the same. They do the same dances every night, and it's just a big old empty building with a wood floor and a bar and 2 bars on each side, and then people come and they. Country singers come and they, play country songs and people do the, the dances. And so me going to this place, I am the only black person there every time.
There's no culture. Yeah. All the white folk.
Yeah.
So it's you and Taylor were there, and then I was there with some of my ag friends, and then somebody knew Taylor. Somebody was talking to Taylor, and I don't know, you were wearing like LA or something, and I was like, are you from California? And you're like, yeah. And I was like, oh my God, me too. Like, oh my gosh. Like, we just needed this, like, we were so, like, culturally, like, I don't even know the word, like, culture shock, I guess. Like, of just all these, like, country. Like,
and believe it or not,
Bakersfield.
And believe it or not, I danced every Sunday because that's when it opened. It opened every Sunday night.
Yep.
And so, believe me, I was the only black person there, and I danced and did the country dancing in front of everybody, and they was all looking like, "Who is this dude doing this country dancing?"
You were not good. It wasn't your strong suit. It was not.
But then
that's how we became friends.
Over time, people start to realize I was a football player, so then it didn't become as awkward
well.
anymore.
I mean, it was like you were either a football player, or like some crazy local. Because
if you're in Nebraska, and you're black, most likely you're an athlete. Well, if you're in Lincoln, if you're in the city of Lincoln and you're black, most likely you're an athlete. So people can kind of figure it out if you got tattoos and stuff. So
so that's how we met, and then. A couple weeks after that, we were at a party, and like I said, we didn't drink, so I didn't know my limits. I didn't know, like, when I went to college, my mom was the president of Mothers Against Drunk Driving, so like I was not even like so much as like a scent of alcohol. And my mom would be like, "Have you been drinking?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like next level." So I go to college, and I'm finally like, "No rules, like what?" And then me and Eric meet, and then we're hanging out, and we were at this. I don't know, it was some house party. There are always house parties. But it was I remember it being like, we were
across
on
the street from the dorms.
Floor.
It was across the street from the dorms.
I remember we had to drive there because we were in.
It was in North Bottoms.
Yes, it was in the Bottoms. So we're on like the second or third floor of this, and you had some kind of like, it was like peach vodka or something awful, like really bad. And so you're like, all right, we're just going to drink this. We didn't mix it with anything. We're just sitting on this counter. I remember there's like a bunch of people there. It's literally just like me and Eric in our bubble per usual. And like he pours me a shot and he pours his shot and we drink it and we sit there for a minute. It was awful, but like we're being rebels here. And so then I'm like looking at him like, you feel anything? He's like, nah. And I'm like, do it again. So like, mind you, I'm not like a dainty, delicate flower. Like I am like a large human, so I was probably like 150 and he's probably like 250. And so also I played like club hockey in Nebraska, so I'm like somewhat athletically prone. And so like he takes his second shot, I take my second shot, and we sit there for a minute, and I'm like, man, when's this stuff hit? It's like an edible, right? Like waiting patiently for the onset. And so then we're like sitting there and like we're like waiting, and you're like, you feel anything? And I'm like, nah. And you're like, let's do it again. And so like we do this like over and over, and finally we're like, I don't know, probably an hour in, and I'm like, shit, I feel it now. Like this is something. But I was keeping up with a man who's 100 pounds more than me and had never drank and have no idea. And so I'm like 0 to 100 quick. Like next thing I know, I am out on the balcony like, oh my gosh, like, breathe through it. Like, you can do this, like, breathe through it. And I have to hurl. And so I bought up over this balcony where there's people walking underneath. Oh, no. And Eric's like, are you good? And I'm like, So I bought us on some people at one of the first parties because of Eric and trying to keep up with drinking with him because we didn't know how to drink. And I remember getting a ride back to the dorms, and I think it was, who's that guy from Texas? He was like...
Cody Green.
Yes, yeah. It was him and like his girlfriend or somebody, and then it was us and somebody else in the back seat, and I remember him saying something like, Eric, I swear, if she barfs in here, because he had like a new truck.
Yeah,
and,
he had that Dodge. He had a Dodge Ram, yeah.
She just takes the wheel. Like, oh my gosh. So that's one that always sticks out in my mind. I mean, there's...
yeah, that was a long night. I remember that. That was a long night.
Oh my gosh. And it's your fault. Like, we should have known better. And you kept pulling him, and I'm like, you good? And you're like, I'm good. I'm like, me too. Keep it rolling. Like,
she never. It's funny. She never forgot that neither. Every time we used to go out and drink, she'd be like, "No, I'm not drinking that much. Last time I did that."
Do you remember this? I almost died. Dang.
Yeah. So
Man.
those are the good college stories. Yeah, Ronnie was kind of
There's
there
so many.
throughout my whole college. She went to all my football games damn near.
Oh yeah, when I flew to Washington and I had to stay the
Yes.
night in the airport because I thought y'all were gonna sleep or you were gonna stay in the hotel after the game, but y'all flew back after.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, shoot. So, and I had like no money. I think I had like 13 cents in my bank account, but somehow I flew out there and I didn't have money for a taxi, and it started raining because it was freaking Washington. And this taxi driver dude was like, I was standing outside of the stadium all by myself, and this taxi driver guy is like, do you have a ride? And I'm like, no. And he was like, where do you need to go? And I was like, well, I mean, I guess the airport. Like, I don't know. Like, I have no idea. And so, he's like, well, like, I'll give you a ride. And I was like, I can't pay you. Like, I have like 13 cents, bro. And he was like, I have a daughter your age. I wouldn't want her out here in the rain. And I'm like, bless you, sweet angel from heaven. So this dude pulls up in a limo, and I'm like, I'm getting kidnapped. It's a cool way to go. So I get in this limo, and he takes me to the airport, and he's like, be safe. And then I don't realize, like, I thought all airports were 24 hours, but, like, apparently not. And so I'm in this airport. Everything shuts down, and I'm just, like, sitting there. And my flight's not until the next morning. And I'm like, dang, like, this is a mess. All because I went to watch Eric's game in Washington. Like, man. But there's so many.
So Ronnie, somebody in the comments said, Ronnie, how do you recommend I incorporate my whiskey into my workout? How do I make them both coexist while maintaining?
Whiskey and water. Whiskey and water is always a good bet.
While maintaining my dad bod and staying buzzed.
Hydration is key. So a little bit of whiskey and water. Also, everything in moderation. So I never say do not participate in the things that make your life worth living. If you're going to a birthday party, eat the cake. I mean, shoot, we're not, I don't know.
Well,
don't skimp out on the good stuff.
People are loving the story. They love hearing embarrassing things about me. Just like they like me.
I have another one that comes to mind, like right off the bat. This one's not that bad. This one's just a time that you really put me in a pickle. Because it was the Holiday Bowl.
Wait. Oh yeah. When we drove back, I thought you was gonna talk about the snow day.
Oh my God! No, you talk about the snow day. We'll listen to your side of the story, and then we'll circle back to the real way that it is. Go ahead.
No. I don't remember. I just remember us getting.
That's funny because you happen to remember the exact make and model of Cody Green's car, but you don't remember this. You're so full of crap right now. I can't even. Whatever. I'm not telling it. You have to tell it.
So I don't remember what. I just remember. Was we want to get something to eat? Where was we going? I had convinced her to go somewhere during one of the biggest blizzards Nebraska's ever had. I convinced her.
And we didn't know that this was not like normal. Like, we come from like sunshine. I had never really seen snow like that before, and neither had he. And so we're just like, is this what people live like? This freaking like Arctic tundra? It was like -40 wind chill, like, which if you've never even seen zero, the other side of zero is like
it's bad. In Nebraska, it gets bad. And so I remember, I think I convinced you to go get something to eat or something.
Mm-hmm.
I believe I convinced her to go get something to eat because I was always hungry and I always wanted to go get something to eat. And so it's like a crazy storm, and we get outside, and she's like, "We're not gonna make it." And I'm like, "Man, you crazy? We're gonna be all right. All right, don't even worry about it. We're gonna be all right." I'm like, "Look, it's cars going by and everything."
And by cars, he means like trucks and 4-wheel drive. He doesn't mean like a Honda.
So our dorm had this big old parking lot that was next to the main road, and so like as soon as you pull out the parking lot, you make a right, and then like you can make a left or a right onto the main road. So as soon as we pull out the parking lot onto the light, we get stuck immediately. And it's like midnight, 1:00.
I remember just looking at you like, did I not fucking tell you this is exactly what's
and we immediately get stuck.
Are you kidding me?
And I'm looking at her like, oh my God, damn. What we gonna do?
What do we do now? What do we do? Like, what do you do?
So, and this wasn't her car. This was her roommate's car, which was even worse. It wasn't even her car. So I convinced her to take her roommate's car so we could go get something to eat. We get stuck, and she's like, "I cannot believe I let this happen." So I had to get out the car, and I pushed the car in the cold all the way back in the parking lot, which it took forever.
Because I stayed my happy ass in the car.
And did somebody come like help us too? Wasn't it like a car driving by and somebody got out and helped us?
For some reason, the girl that married Nick Ashes who comes to mind.
Oh, it was Brooke. Yeah, Brooke. It was her.
Was it her? Or was it?
I think it was. I think it was her. Somebody
it,
came and pushed us. I remember it being a girl, but somebody came and pushed us and helped us.
Or Megan. Maybe Megan, that softball girl Megan. I remember
yes,
it was
that's
a
who it was.
Softball girl. I
it
just
was
don't remember which one.
It was one of the softball
She saved the day. Whoever, because they're like local, like they know about snow. They're like, oh, it's fine.
Yeah, so we was just two Californians lost in just doing a bunch of stupid stuff.
That you pulled me down in the snow in front of everybody.
Wait, when?
I don't know. I saw it on my memories not that long ago. That was like, if Eric Lamont Martin ever tried to pull me down in the snow, I don't know. I said something about.
Was that when we moved in with Starkey?
No, that was before Starks. I think we still lived in the dorms. I don't know, but there's so many. There's so like.
Oh yeah, the Starkey house. Okay, so we stayed in this old rickety house. This house was like 108 years old.
Haunted AF.
And it was haunted as hell. And one night what did we do? We went in the basement and.
You remember the thing in the basement where there was like a cot that somebody was clearly living in our basement? And
we thought somebody was living in the basement and we've been there like 3 weeks. And we called the police and everything. You got three football players, a gymnast, and who else was there? It was 3 football players, a gymnast, and Roni. And we all in the house scared as hell of nothing in the basement.
That's a no for me, man.
Yeah, that was.
Talking about it, I get freaked out all over again.
Yeah, them was some crazy college times though. But yeah, everybody, this is one of my good friends that knows everything that I did in college. So, but I appreciate you.
College.
I appreciate you coming on the show, Roni. I really wanted to get you on there because I know there's people out there that's at home and want to do some home workouts, and y'all looking for an aggressive.
It's not aggressive. It's all fitness levels. If you have
making sure you on your shit
or back problems, I can help. I'm a certified personal trainer. I can make any adjustments we need. If you have it, anything.
So
the cool thing is trying it out from the safety of your own house. I mean, if you're like not comfortable coming out and like working out in front of people, this is a great time to try it. Especially, I mean, we're not really up where you guys are yet. Hopefully, we'll be growing north.
Yeah, and if you guys sign up, I'll be doing the workout, so you guys will get to catch me on Zoom too, on there laughing and giggling.
So here's his accountability. So
yeah, she's
show up now.
She's definitely mad at me because I told her I was gonna come this week and I didn't show up. But it was mostly Mike's fault, seeing as how Mike be making me stay up and do all this extra stuff. I was just like, man, I can't.
Blame it on Mike. Mike, where are you at? Why aren't you working out with us, Mike?
So Roni, I got to tell you, the first day that he didn't tell me he was gonna start working out with you. So there's one morning. I hear him. He like goes outside, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of weird. He never usually like goes outside early in the morning. And then all of a sudden, I hear him, and I'm like, oh shit, he's having a fight with somebody. Like somebody's like chewing him out. Like he's just. And I who
is it? Is Roni yelling at me to get my knees up?
Yeah,
okay, because you're half-assing the reps. If you're doing high knees and your knees are not lifting to your hips, okay, I'd rather you just step it up. Slow and steady, than trying to be like, oh, here's my little tippy toes. Oh, cute.
You called me at the end when I was already towards the end, and my knees started to get a little heavy and tired.
Okay, well, if your knees are hurting you, be like, hey, Roni, that's a little too intense for me. I'll be like, all right, cool, slow it down, step it up, proper form.
No, I'm not finna tell you I'm not finna tell you I'm hurting and injured. What kind of man would I look like being like, oh, I can't do this?
I don't know. Like, your body hasn't been put through the ringer.
Exactly. That's why I'm not gonna complain. I'm gonna just.
Also,
Yeah.
while I'm talking to you right now, I started to screenshot you this super cute little memory that came up on Facebook the other day. After the spring game, I don't know if you remember this, but there was this little boy, and I don't know, he was maybe like 5 or 6, and we were talking after the spring game, and there was like a couple people, and they were like having you sign something, and this little boy came up, and he was standing next to me, and he was like shivering, like he was like really nervous, and I was like, oh, do you want to talk to him? He's like, that's my favorite player. And I was like, oh, really? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, well, here, let's talk to him. And so I'm like, Eric, hey. And he like looks down and he like has a little thing for you to sign. And I remember him like, Mr. Martin. And I was like, oh my God. My heart just like blew up. And it was on my memories the other day from the spring game. And I was like, man, that was like the sweetest thing. Like, you just made his life. He's probably somewhere like playing high school football now, like a grown up, because we're so old and that was so long ago. But like,
yeah,
man,
it's a lot of it's crazy because on Facebook, you know how I added all them people when I was on Facebook heavy in college.
Yeah.
So I still follow most of them. Most of them was like fans, you know. They were like, you know, younger kids in high school and stuff, and are in, you know, just young, super young. And it's crazy because now they're all adults, and
it's so crazy.
The memory, and you know, they tag me in pictures, and so the memories pop up on my phone sometimes. And so like I look at the picture of me taking a picture with them, and then I look at their current profile picture, and it's like they just went through a whole nother, you know,
puberty has hit.
Yeah, so it's crazy.
Like a grown up now.
Yeah, it's crazy to see how older we getting and how fast it's happening. That, you know,
I'm like aging backwards. Somebody told me that the other day. I was like, oh, God bless. All this vitamin E is working wonders.
Do you guys see what I had to deal with consistently? You guys see?
I was good. I'm like a fine wine, baby.
It's funny because people in the comments saying that they love you, and one of them her name is Jen Knifer. It's funny because you guys kind of act alike, so I can see why you guys are like, why she's like, why she's like, oh my gosh, I love her. I'm like, yeah, because you guys are just alike.
You guys are birds of a feather. Well, hey, Jen, my long lost sister. Can you see my dogs right now? They're like all around. Hey, buddy. Hi, come here. You want to say hi? Come here. Come up here. Oh, hello. Do you see this sweet angel baby? I don't know if you can see her.
Well,
Mm.
Yes, that's her lovely dogs. And
that's Sugar Ray.
Is that Hank?
Hank's in the back. He's being an angel. He's a therapy dog, and he hasn't gotten to go read to kids, so he's been like super depressed.
Yeah, so Hank actually, me and Hank got some beef, unsettled beef. We ain't really talked about it since, but Hank was invited to my house for a weekend, and it was all good, you know. Hank, he was hanging out with Coda, and you know they was having a good time being best friends and stuff. And then it come a point in time where, you know, you got to leave the house, and so you got to leave the dogs alone. And you know, some dogs they can handle being alone, you know, in a nice house, you know. And so we went to go get something to eat, and came back, and you know, we put the dogs in the garage because I put Coda in the garage because I know Coda he's definitely going to take a shit
like
on my carpet.
Where there's like, it's not like a normal, like, oh, here's the lawnmower. It's like, oh, here's my Smith machine, and here's my rack of weights, and here's my like padded floor. Like, normal people don't have padded floors in their gym.
So I had an in garage gym that was set up super, super nice. I had the rubber floors, you know, what it would look like if you was to set up your own home gym. So, you know, I put some time into it, and you know, I let Hank and Coda, you know, reminisce in the garage about how, you know, they best friends and they love to be doggy buddies and stuff. Well, apparently him and Coda must have got into a beef or something happened, and Hank decided to take the largest, wettest, juiciest. Wait, have you guys seen that movie with Eddie Murphy with the babies, and he's like babysitting, and then the baby go in the bathroom, and he's like, hey, I think I missed, and then Eddie Murphy walks in, and he's like looking around, and it's shit everywhere, like on the ceiling, all over the toilet, and he's like, yeah, that's what it looked like when I walked in my garage. That's exactly what happened.
Drama king.
Her big old Labrador Retriever took a huge, wet, mushy. It wasn't even solid. It was like somebody had it in their hand and it was like oozing out their hand. They just threw it all over the place. Cause that's what it looked like in my home gym.
It was not that bad, and we cleaned it, and it's fine.
Look it was so many spots everywhere. I found spots a week after she left when I was lifting. I'm walking by and I look and I'm like, what's this brown? Oh man, we missed. We missed some spots.
We missed those spots.
I had to look at my dumbbells. So yeah, shout out to Hank for ruining my day that day.
Look, he is a gentleman and a scholar. He maybe just had a little bit of tummy problems that day. It happens.
Nah, it wasn't no tummy problem. That man,
He was
did that on
comfortable at Uncle
purpose.
Eric's house.
On purpose.
He did it on purpose. He was like,
Oh, he is not a malicious shitter. I'm shitting out of spite.
Well, it was so nice talking to you, Ronnie, and it was so. I'm so glad that you got to share these stories with some of the people in the comments. They loved
There's
it.
more
So
where that came from. Those are the.
we'll have
nice
you back to have some more on. And they did. Our super fan did find your Train with Ronnie
Link.
I had a Bitly. Yeah, that Bitly Train with me link. I mean, I kind of actually stopped checking that. So the best thing is probably just to message me on Facebook or, yeah, like message me on Facebook.
All right,
or
don't do that. Just hit her up on Facebook. And
That's honestly the best way. I can send you the link to sign up, like get registered, and then I also have that promo code, so it's only going to be $19. If you just sign up using the Camp Gladiator link, it would be $39. But trainers have a little promo code just to save y'all some money. So.
And what I'm thinking about doing is, Ronnie, maybe I'll videotape one of the workouts outside, and then we can I can maybe go live in the morning or something while. Because it's super early. She starts at, 5:15 her time?
Yeah,
it's 5:15 her
your
time, 6:15 our time, which is...
And then my evening one is at 6:45 your time, 5:45 my
Which I still
time.
don't want to be up. But hey, 6:45, if y'all can wake up, she would definitely be...
6:15.
She would definitely be doing it, and I will be there too. And I'm going to go live one day and show you guys. So... Appreciate you, Ronnie.
Mike, you're hopping on too, right? Mike, you joining?
Maybe. In spirit.
Bring some numbers.
Definitely in spirit.
In spirit. Rooting you on.
Mike ain't doing shit.
Just spectate.
Hey,
He's just
let me
watching.
tell you, Mike ain't doing shit. Like when I say you couldn't fade this man.
Oh man, look, that's all right. It's not for everybody. I can't even get my own mom to sign up, and I'm like, Mom, support small business. I'm literally I'm your child.
Because they know it's a
support me.
commitment thing. It's not even about doing it one
It's
time.
not like you're locked in a contract. It's a one-time thing. I don't even care. Honestly, it's fine. It's clearly I'm not bitter.
She is so
It's
mad.
fine. It's fine.
She is getting so. As you guys can see, she is very passionate. And Ronnie did ride bikes very far distance. She probably rode a bike further than you drove cars. So
I did do an Ironman.
She did a lot of triathlons and
Yeah.
and
I'm doing another one in
quiathlons
October.
and
I should probably train for that.
all those anything that had to do with an athlon at the end of it, she was probably
That's
partaking
not true
in.
because they have decathlons and stuff, and I'm not doing that many. I only do 3.
Okay.
My brother always says, "Why would you suck at one sport when you can suck at 3?" I'm like, thanks, bro. What a dick. Oh man.
But thank you
Yeah.
though, Ronnie. I appreciate you coming on. We'll have you on again. We'll make sure we have you on again when most of this is over, when all this stuff is over, and maybe you can
Sounds
do
good.
a live. Maybe you can do a live workout session.
Yeah, if people want to get a little cardio in, get their fitness on.
Oh yeah, there's people out here that want to. So, thank you, Ronnie, and I hope
right.
you have a great day.
I hope you have a great day, Eric.
Bye, Ronnie. It's nice to meet you.
Bye, guys. Nice
Have a
to
good
meet you.
one.
Bye.
Ronnie's awesome.
Well, now you guys got to get a little glimpse of my college days, who I was. I was that dude. Well, I was that dude too, if you wanted to have a good time.
Jason says, Ronnie, I will pay you to humiliate me by making me jump rope.
Whoa.
He
Is
knows
this some kind of kink?
maybe.
We need to call that kink guy back in here.
So Jay's girlfriend is also like a badass bitch, and I think that's why he likes Roni so
Oh,
much.
for
'Cause
real?
he's like, ooh.
Oh, Jay,
he's
you
just into that-
you
he's into that
attracted
kind
to them military women, the ones that put you in your
of woman.
place.
He likes those baddies.
I'm not gonna lie, I like to be put in my place sometime too, because as much as I like being strong and being, tough and being, and when I walk in the room, I'm the biggest dude in there. I like having that feeling, but then sometimes, I like to be told what to do. I like to be told, hey, go sit your ass down somewhere. I'm like, okay. Tell me again.
You're like, make me, with a big smile on your face. Make me.
Just saying, every now and then it's cool to be told what to do. You ain't always got to be tough, Sometimes, every lion got to bow. Sometimes, every lion got to bow to a queen. Sometimes you gotta let them roars scare you. Even though if they don't scare you, you gotta let them scare you.
So we had a contest today. The contest was for free infused jam and free face mask for both you and a vet. And so what people
And
had
we
to
got
do,
the winner.
Oh, we do?
Oh yeah, we been had the winner.
You know who it is?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So we ready to? Is everyone ready?
Oh yeah, we finna announce the winner right now.
Okay, let's do it.
And the winner is coming out of. Wait, hold on, I gotta rethink this. I'm trying to get my Bruce Buffer voice right. Hold on, I gotta think of how I'm gonna say this. In the comments, standing at between 5'6" and 6 foot tall, this winner did come up with the right cartoon that Eric Martin is a fan of, and he said it mighty early in the comments, but I let it slide. Today's winner, standing out of the blue comments, we have. Hold on, I forgot. The winner is Robert Hocko.
Wow, Hocko won. I don't even know if I don't know if he's on. And did Hocko tag a vet?
And Hocko did tag a vet, and Hocko won because my favorite cartoon is, Tom and Jerry. One of the funniest cartoons there is. It was no words on site all the time. Soon as they seen each other, it's get down to business. Let's do this. Mm-hmm. And that's what I used to like because I ain't trying to have no storyline. I just want to see somebody get their ass whooped. And I want to see somebody celebrate when they whooping ass.
Right.
So that's the reason why I used to like Tom and Jerry, because they had no words. They probably said about 4 words throughout the whole cartoon, but it was on site every time. And it was just
Jay,
a funny
you said
cartoon.
it late. I think Jay, I saw you see it too. Say it too, but I think you were late.
Yeah, Jay, you said it late behind them. Don't worry, we checked, my man. I know I heard you, JT. Don't worry, I seen you, bro. But yeah, Tom and Jerry is a funny cartoon, though. Tom was that dude. Jerry was that dude.
All right, so Hocko, I don't even know if Hocko knows he won because he's not in the. So
Yeah,
can somebody
Hocko-
tag Hocko?
Yeah, you got about.
Why don't we give him? Yeah, we'll give him a
5
minute.
minutes. You
1
got about
minute. You
5
got 1
minutes to
minute.
comment.
You got 1 minute.
The last comment was at 12:28. I read, so you got to about 12:35, my brother. You got 12:35. If you don't comment,
Somebody
you
tag
lost.
Hocko.
Robert Hocko, where are you? We need you.
Hocko's got a banging beard.
Get this gift too. Otherwise, taxes will keep the whole thing, boo. You need to come in the comments and get your prize and claim it. But yeah, Tom and Jerry. Tom and Jerry is a good.
I love Tom and Jerry.
Oh, and so everybody that was talking about me in the country club, yes, I did go to country clubs. I was lit in the country clubs. You know how hard it is to be the only black man in a country club?
So Jay, when he was playing today, when he was doing his entries, he was tagging an animal vet. the entire time, like a lady that he knows. I thought because I saw that and I thought that it was. I thought that it just happened to be a veteran that was a doctor, but it was an animal veteran who.
Jay, you are forever doing questionable things in the comments. I don't know how. Like, I don't know how you can be questionable in comments, but you do a lot of questionable stuff in the comments. And if we can write it down and.
Hako, you won. Hako, who was your vet? You got to tell us your vet. So anyway, Hako,
Hey, Hako, look it, bro. First of all, when you win, you don't come in the comments with these basic words. You better come in with some caps saying, "Oh my God, I can't believe I won." Don't be like, "I did. I'm back." Like, what, bro? Taxes is finna take a little bit more. Your taxes is 75%, my brother. He was
like, "I don't give a shit about your show until I won." Finally.
Yeah, your taxes is 75%, my brother. You only walking away with a fourth of a mask.
A fourth of a mask.
You better hope it can cover your nose and mouth.
He's got a big beard, though. Yeah, Jay, I hear you. We hear you. We didn't specify, but, just for future reference, we're not doing contests for
Rebecca, I'm sorry you didn't win. Rebecca, you still haven't won?
They can still win.
Rebecca still haven't won?
I thought... Didn't Rebecca win the other day? I'm pretty sure Rebecca won the other day. Rebecca, didn't you win? And Sarah, we're sorry that you showed up late, but we appreciate you for sure, and you should come earlier and win stuff every day.
Hey, my favorite time of Jerry cartoons is when Spike and his son be.
Oh, right, and like he's trying to teach the little son to like be all ballsy and stuff.
Come on, boy. Come on, boy. Where's my boy? He used to get hot, yo. Where's my boy? He said, "You better watch my boy."
So, Hako, there's two things. So, first of all, you want infused jam. So you and your the vet that
Robert
you
said
were
that's
tagging.
not true. I had to make lunches, LMAO.
So you got to contact the Pheno Cup folks and let them know that you and your veteran friend are the mask winners, and you'll give them your addresses, and they'll get you the mask. And then the same thing with Avril. If you contact Avril, tell her you and your buddy's addresses. She's going to ask for your copy of your ID because that's the way that it works when you're gifted.
You gotta show your ID. We don't care if you look 50 or look 110 or look 5,002. We want that ID. We don't care if your ID is from the 1700s, my brother. It better say you over 21. All right?
There you go.
Oh, that's better.
Dr. Flavor Station.
About time. You said thank you. Oh my gosh. I effing won. You guys rock my lame ass. Thank you, Dr. Flavor Station. Y'all can call me Mr. Flavor Station. Alright, so I actually wanted to talk a little bit about the draft pick. I didn't get to talk about it.
Yeah.
What time is it? 12:33.
Do your thing.
I don't even want to talk to y'all this long. I'm trying to think if I should just save it. I don't even really like talking to y'all. Y'all gotta put football in the comments if y'all want me to talk about it. Otherwise, I'm logging off. If it ain't enough footballs in the next 5 minutes, I'm gonna end it myself, and we ain't even gonna do a goodbye song. I'm gonna just end it.
Running the goodbye song too. You're messing with a lot of people right now.
Yeah.
No, don't take away my goodbye song.
Exactly. So y'all better let me know in the comments if I should talk about this draft pick that I'm most excited about for the Patriots. Even though we don't have that good of a quarterback, I still believe that this draft pick is going to be the key to our future success. So I need y'all to put the footballs in the comments. I see one. Okay, Scotty 2. Let me see. Where's what was I gonna say about him? What was his name? Oh yeah, okay, I got his name. I almost forgot. All right, we seeing some footballs in these comments. All right, so we could talk about it a little bit. So the draft pick that I'm most excited about, and it's not even their first pick, because their first pick was cool. The safety, he was alright. I like him. I'll talk about him a little bit later. But the person that I'm most excited about is the tight end that they was it Dalton King from Virginia Tech. That dude is a beast. And the reason why I say that he's a beast, you guys need to go look at the way he plays. You guys need to go watch his games. The dude is 6'4", 250 pounds, but he runs like a monster. Uh, he has dope hands, I think. He reminds me of Gronk. He's similar to Gronk in a fashion. Like if you watch the way he runs, he has heavy feet. Like his feet are real heavy. He runs with a lot of power. Like, and if you watch the way Gronk runs, you can tell anybody that runs hard, their feet are kind of heavy when they run. And if you watch his feet when he runs leaning forward and he has a lot of power behind him. Another thing that I like about him is he's very flexible. If you look at the way he runs, his strides are extremely long, and that's good for getting separation and stuff. As he gets older, he's gonna do a lot more speed workouts, and that's gonna help him excel a little bit more. He's gonna be a deep threat. But then I also in college he wore number 29 for a tight end, which is you got to be a real bold person to wear. Usually your number determines the kind of player you are. So like for him to be a tight end and wear 29, he's basically saying like I'm an athlete. 20 numbers are usually for athletes, and he's lined up at the slot at tight end. He's lined up at the wide, which is dope for his size, for him to be able to do that. So he's kind of like a more athletic Gronk. I think he's more athletic than Gronk. I don't think he's as strong as Gronk. I think he's more athletic, and I think his hands are a little bit better than Gronk's. I think he's more. I don't think his hands are better than Gronk. Like from now for him, probably like down the line it will be. But he's a natural catcher, is what I mean. Like he's not. He didn't have to learn how to catch. It just came natural for him. Uh, he's taken some hits. I watched some of his games. He's a big dude, so he's like I say, he's 6'4", 250. So when you're that big, you gotta, you can't be soft at 250. So you always in that tight end, you always gonna meet that guy that's gonna lay that wood on you, and it's just how you react to it. And so I think it was a Virginia Tech game. He got hit hard, like he got smacked right by the goal line, and he got up right after the hit. And he just continues to walk. So I think he's a real tough kid, for who he is. Yeah. So that's the draft pick that I'm most excited. I think he's gonna be the future for whatever quarterback we get, but he's gonna be the future. He's gonna be that main go-to guy because the Patriots' offense is built around tight ends.
So you think he's going to be better than Gronk?
I mean, I don't never. The thing about football is it can be a person that's sorry end up being the best player. End up being one of the best players to play, and it's players that's good that end up being super sorry. You never know. So if he keep his, you can only see potential in players. What they do now. You can't really predict how they're gonna do in the future or how they're gonna do in the NFL because college and the NFL is two different, leaps. Them hits is a lot harder, the speed is a lot faster, and you got to be a lot more mentally tough and prepared for the business that comes around football. Because being in college, you just enjoying it, having a good time, going to class, talking to all the girls, doing that stuff. But you get to the NFL, it's much more deep than that. You can still chase the girls, but you got to be able to still come that next day and line up in front of one of the best players in the world, or one of the 1,600 best players in the world at the time. So, it's just a different life. So it's just about adjusting and how people can adjust. You never know how people adjust. But yeah, that's who I like the most out of the drafts. Out of the draft picks that I've seen, all the draft picks that I've seen, he was the one that I liked the most. And when we get a good quarterback, he's gonna be their go-to target. Him and Kill Harry, they both monsters. So. yeah, that was my little take on
Patriots.
the
first
draft pick. Yeah, no, it wasn't their first pick. I think he was the second or third pick. I don't know which pick he was, but I looked at them all, and I always just picked the best pick out of all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Because players, just because you get picked in the second round don't mean you better than a player in the fourth round. At the end of the day, football is football, and once you step on that field, it don't matter if you was first round or last round. You get your head lit, you get your head taken off just like the next person. And that's the thing that I like about football is just really you can't really sit there and say a player is good until you play against them. I done played against. I done seen players. I done heard players say, "Oh, this player good as hell. Can you go against him? It's gonna be a rough time." And then you play against him, you like, "Yo, this dude garbage." But that's the thing, because there's always somebody better out there. No matter how good you think you are in football, there's always somebody better. If you hit the hardest, it's somebody that hit harder. If you run the fastest, it's somebody that run faster. If you think you're the smartest, there's somebody out there that's smarter. And you'll figure that out over time. The more games you play. But yeah, so now that y'all got that, we've come to the end of the show. And guess what? It's time for us to go. Why? Because we don't want to talk to y'all no more. And it's time to go.